Hello to all my dear followers, welcome to Season 5. I've left a card up here with all the chapters of What If RIAS GREMORY was transported to the world of Naruto. If you want a 6th season, just fill out the comments section.
Part 41. Danzo Shimura's private office. A blue flash appeared in the room, from which Naruto and RIAS emerged. Naruto whispered, "This room needs to be investigated. I don't feel anything. Be careful." The redhead nodded and they both separated, searching the shelves. It seemed there was nothing there, but when RIAS opened a drawer and took something out, a red folder fell out and she picked it up. RIAS was startled by the noise, but when she saw her boyfriend, he nodded. RIAS, sadly, "I'm sorry." The blonde man just chuckled. Naruto, cheerfully, "Relax, it seems there's no chakra. Come on, hurry up, we can't let our guard down." RIAS nodded. She took the folder and a shiver ran down her spine when she saw the family photo. RIAS, thinking, Itachi Uchiha. The girl slowly flipped through the pages, surprised by the boy's record. This man is incredible, but what made him change? The more she flipped through the information pages, the more surprised she became by the record. When she reached the halfway point, the girl gasped in surprise. When Naruto saw how his girlfriend remained motionless, he quickly approached her. Naruto, worried, "Honey, what happened?" RIAS was still in shock, so the blonde boy saw the folder and opened his eyes. There was only one mission request in the folder, and that made him angry. The folder read Uchiha Clan Assassination Mission, requesting Danzo Shimura. The blonde man supported RIAS and sealed the folder to his arm for added security. Naruto, serious, "Don't worry, we'll talk to Granny Tsunade." RIAS nodded, somewhat dazed, but quickly left when Naruto grabbed her by the waist and 3ANBU entered. Ambu, serious, "This place is restricted, what are you doing here?" The blonde man did not respond upon sensing Danzo's cursed seal upon them. RIAS, would be, "They won't beat us." The redhead created a magic circle and a powerful jet of water took them by surprise. Naruto, serious, "Okay, let's go. I left a seal, hopefully, we can return." RIAS nodded when the blonde boy let go of her. They both ran through the corridors that seemed like a labyrinth. RIAS, would be, "You know where to go." Naruto, serious, "Yes, the man doesn't know I can sense chakra. Come on, he has people with him." Without further ado, the two ran towards a deeper part of the base. In a separate room, Danzo was annoyed, looking at the man who was kneeling in front of him. Danzo, annoyed, "That brat, then there's more information." Ambu, serious, "No sir, when we arrived Sasuke Uchiha confirmed it, and before entering the corpses of the army offered by Orochimaru were at the entrance." Danzo, annoyed, "Fine, it doesn't matter anymore." Looking at another who arrived, "Tell me how many Ambu are in that riot." Ambu, calmly, "The prison is in order, sir." It seems the departure of the Jounin Mato guy was a deception, and together with the group of rookies, they managed to stop that part. The man gripped his cane angrily. Danzo, serious, "Okay, everyone get ready, we're leaving for now." The same man approached and shook his head. Ambu, serious, "It seems Sai has betrayed us. The Jounin Kakashi, along with Tenzo and Sai, arrived with a group of Tsunade's Ambu and they are neutralizing us. The man became even more annoyed when he saw that there were 7 Ambu in that place, apart from his 2 trusted men. He just nodded. Danzo, serious, "Fu, Toryun, let's go to the bases outside the village. We need to get more reinforcements." 2 men approached, looking serious. Before they could do anything, the 2 Ambu guards who were guarding the door were thrown out when it shattered into pieces. Naruto, serious, "I don't think so, old man." The man grunted when he saw the blonde man. Danzo, serious, "Let's escape, buy some time." The group attacked the 2 teenagers, but Naruto smiled, pulling out a 3-pronged kunai. Naruto, cheerfully, "You want to catch me?" RIAS smiled as she created 2 magic circles. RIAS, cheerfully, "Don't worry, it won't take me even 3 seconds. The blonde man chuckled, so he didn't say anything more as he jumped towards Danzo, who glared at him furiously. The 3 men who went, along with RIAS, didn't stand a chance when they were evaporated by a sphere of destruction, much to Danzo's annoyance. Naruto ignored the 2 who went after him as he threw the kunai at the one behind him, who easily dodged it. But none of them expected the blonde to flash blue and deliver a kick to the man's skull, knocking him out of the fight. Naruto, serious, "You won't escape." smiling. You think I didn't mark you when I put on that suit that day? The man gritted his teeth as he parted his robes. Danzo, annoyed, Torian, stop the boy. Escape is not an option unless he dies. Naruto raised an eyebrow. He had noticed a large amount of bandages on the man's left side, but his eyes widened when he saw how he tore those bandages and another arm with 3 golden metal protectors bearing some seals. Naruto, annoyed, that's why I didn't feel anything. Those seals are for dissipation and nullify the senses so that no sensor can detect anything. The man merely smiled at the deduction as he pulled out 3 large keys. The blonde man was about to lash out when some insects landed on his arm. Kyubi, serious, it's poison, you idiot. Naruto noticed his hand starting to turn purple, so he expelled a large amount of the fox's chakra, covering his body with a layer of protective chakra. Naruto, annoyed, that won't work. He smiled as he saw his hand being covered by that cloak more strongly. I'm not alone here. The man in the large trench coat spoke, taking a step forward. Torian, calmly, I'll give you a point. No one is more efficient at this fight than me. The blonde man raised an eyebrow as he watched the orange-haired man take a few steps back, but opened his eyes when he heard a loud noise of something hitting the ground and releasing something. Naruto, serious, 3 more chakras, what's going on? Before he could see the old man, a fist almost hit him. Naruto took 2 steps back and opened his eyes when he saw the man's skin, it was purple. Torian, serious, I am your opponent, you must not get distracted. Naruto just smiled, getting into a fighting stance. Naruto, cheerfully, you know, he's proud. Do you think a little poison can break through this protection? The purple-skinned man opened his eyes as a fist slammed into his stomach, killing several of his insects, and he coughed a little. Fu, for his part, was in the classic Yamanaka clan pose, but before he could do anything, he noticed a creaking sound on the ground. He had to be quick when a golden chain nearly impaled him, causing him to lose his grip on the boy. Danzo grunted at the sight and dropped another safety pin on his arm while grunting a little. Danzo, serious mind, I must conserve my energy. If I'm right, Tsunade has these places guarded by the Leaf Village's security. I must live. The fox inside Naruto had gained access to his senses and could see the fight and feel the outside world, so he opened his eyes with clear anger. The powerful beast would never forget that feeling and the chakra of those damned powers that were weakening him. Kyubi, annoyed, dwarf, that old man has 11 Sharingan eyes, plus a chakra that I also want to finish. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the sight of the orange-haired man lunging at him and quickly backed away so that the boy behind him lost his target by touching his comrade. Fu began to be infected by the poisonous insects of his comrade. Torian, scared, I'm sorry, I'll heal you now. The man approached, sniffing at the insects, but suddenly a pressure and a strong murderous instinct took hold of the room. Even the men RIAS faced were paralyzed by something that seemed to have left nothing but fear. RIAS, seeing her opportunity, quickly trapped her remaining enemies in a magic circle and vanished them rapidly, but she was also surprised by the anger emanating from Naruto. Danzo tensed up from the pressure and the chakra that he felt in the room. Naruto, serious, you have 12 eyes of murdered Uchihas, an arm with Hashirama's cells, you desecrate graves, you old piece of shit. Despite his fear, the man smiled with a touch of arrogance. Danzo, calmly, you don't understand, do you? Tell me, why waste a better power if it's for the safety of the village, don't you think? That angered Naruto even more. He quickly lunged at the man, who opened his eye wide in surprise at the boy's speed. Naruto did not hold back his strength, and the fox, seeing those eyes, also became enraged. He unconsciously sharpened his chakra and cut the man in half. Naruto sighed, now calmer, seeing that. Naruto, thinking, why did you do it? I didn't mean to kill him. The fox inside Naruto sneered. Kyubi, annoyed, shut up. If I can get some revenge on that duo, believe me, I will. Naruto was about to lash out with a shout, but RIAS's voice brought him back to reality. RIAS, shock, Naruto is after you. Naruto opened his eyes and before a kunai infused with wind chakra could decapitate him, he flashed towards his girlfriend. Naruto, shock, what, but you died. Danzo, calmly, you don't need to know that. You've become a threat. You and your ideals have weakened this village. Without me, who knows what would happen? You know what it means to sacrifice yourself for something, don't you? Naruto growled in annoyance, as did RIAS, both wondering what was happening. RIAS, would be, what do you mean? From what I know, you haven't done anything but cause problems. Danzo, calmly, what is a newcomer talking about? You'll never understand this concept, getting your hands dirty, doing the jobs that keep the village safe from the shadows, sacrificing everything, that's the concept of a shinobi. Naruto, serious, just like Itachi, right? Ordering the killing of his own family on the condition that nothing be done to his younger brother. No, why would he need more power? Danzo tensed up, that angered him. Danzo, serious, you don't understand, kid. If that old codger Hiruzen had taken the right actions, nothing would have happened. The Uchiha are simply unstable. I moved them to the outskirts, I isolated them. It was only a matter of time before they rose up. If they didn't die, a war would break out. RIAS, annoyed, what are you saying? You forced them to start a revolution just so you could get rid of someone just because you were stronger? Danzo, calmly, shut up, you don't understand. They were only thinking of themselves. It was a waste. If someone who wants the protection of the village has them, isn't it better? Isn't it better to have this power to keep the great tree safe? RIAS became angry, launching a ball of destruction that was dodged, but the Rasengan on her back was unexpected. Naruto, annoyed, you're simply trash. She danced, screaming in pain, and her eyes rolled back in her head from the impact. RIAS, would be, what's happening? Did you do something? Naruto growled slightly and threw his fist towards RIAS, who opened her eyes as it passed by her head. Danzo, annoyed, they are very annoying. RIAS opened her eyes and turned around, noticing a cut on her boyfriend's hand. Naruto, annoyed, what's going on here? Naruto grabbed RIAS and stepped back, growling slightly as he saw the man's subordinates arrive. RIAS, worried, are you okay? Sorry. Naruto chuckled, showing his hand surrounded by the Kyuubi's chakra. Naruto, cheerfully, relax, it's nothing, he heals me, but, seriously, I should have killed him twice already, why is the most annoying scum immortal? RIAS nodded somewhat annoyed as an image of Riser flashed into his mind, quickly shaking off that bitter experience. RIAS, would be, I know, and the worst part is I don't know what to do. Danzo, serious, dispersion, we must attack quickly, we cannot waste energy, keep them. Fu nodded, jumping back and making hand poses. Fu, thinking, the Jinchuriki is not an option. RIAS raised an eyebrow when she saw the boy, but Naruto recognized those signs. Naruto, serious, okay, your turn. RIAS raised an eyebrow when Naruto stood in front of her, and the blonde boy lowered his head. Danzo opened his eyes in annoyance and quickly moved towards RIAS, who was distracted. Danzo, serious, dies. Before he could land the blow, a powerful kick to his jaw sent him flying into a wall. Toryun opened his eyes as he saw his comrade scream in agony while clutching his head. Toryun, worried, hey, are you okay? What happened? Naruto, serious, I'd worry about you if I were him. Before he could do anything, a blow to the back of his neck knocked him unconscious. Danzo couldn't believe it, he saw that only 2 of his subordinates were in the room and they were unconscious. Danzo, serious, I see that Tsunade was also a traitor, concealing the ability of the right hands. If children are created with that ability, the resulting weapons would be a useful addition to reaffirm Konoha as the strongest village. That somehow angered the redhead even more, causing her to expel a large amount of red and black energy. RIAS, would be, scum, what kind of monster would do that? The man groaned in pain as he felt a sharp kick to his stomach and a punch to his side. The man staggered, dizzy from the blows. He grabbed his side, and when he raised his head, a black sphere crashed into his head, vaporizing it. Naruto, serious, that will be. The boy stopped when he clearly saw the body vanish. Danzo, annoyed, enough with the games, children. Naruto jumped towards his girlfriend, who was incredulous upon hearing that. She turned around, noticing that the body was no longer there. RIAS, shock, how I evaporated his head is impossible. As Naruto approached, he was on guard. He looked at the man with an analytical gaze and opened his eyes when he saw one of those eyes close. Naruto, happily, I can see only 8 more times. Danzo raised an eyebrow, trying to hide his annoyance at being discovered. RIAS, curious, how come you literally cut it in half 8 times and I evaporated its head? That's very difficult. Naruto, cheerfully, difficult, yes, but not impossible. Look at the arm. Did you notice that it now has 8 open eyes and 3 closed? RIAS looked more closely at the old man and nodded. That was true. Danzo, serious, so you figured that out, but tell me who will win, and don't think I'll die in the village. Naruto flashed blue and punched the angry man in the cheek. Naruto, annoyed, someone like you should have died. You don't deserve to live. Killing an entire clan for power, you're nothing but scum. Danzo angrily wiped his bleeding lip, but before lashing out, he noticed the atmosphere turn darker and purple. RIAS, would be, well, I've created a barrier, now we have the time. Danzo, seeing that his subordinates were not there, grunted at not seeing anything and none of his eyes detected the chakra used to make it work. Danzo, annoyed, what is this? There's no chakra. What are you playing at, brat? RIAS smiled at him petulantly as she pointed to some magic circles that were in some strategic locations. RIAS, cheerfully, tell me then why you think I was fighting your Ambu when I could have simply evaporated them, but if I had, you would have suspected my barrier. Danzo grunted and had to dodge a kunai with wind chakra. The man growled when his left eye was almost exploded. He was able to dodge, but the bandages on his left side came loose, revealing the 3-tomo Sharingan of that eye. Naruto, serious, that eye isn't normal, its chakra is very different. RIAS approached Naruto, ready to attack. She counted his eyes, could that be why? RIAS, would be, then we still have to kill him 9 more times. Naruto, serious, something tells me that eye on his wrinkled face is his trump card. Don't look him in the eyes. RIAS nodded, glancing down at the old man's feet to anticipate his movements. Naruto, for his part, closed his eyes, he had to do something first. Naruto, serious, so you'll lend me that for now? The fox chuckled at that, while he too closed his eyes. Kyubi, calmly, well, you'd better rip out each of his eyes and kick that stupid face in the shoulder. Naruto just shook his head but smiled more calmly. Danzo raised an eyebrow at that. The girl was clever not to notice, but she clenched her fists when the blonde boy opened his eyes and met her gaze. Danzo, serious, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you obeying? Naruto, amused, you'll never have the chakra to put me in an illusion right now. Kyubi lent me his eyes, and not even Itachi's Tsukimi Genjutsu can do anything to me. Smiling, according to the fox, not even Koto Amatsukami will affect me with these eyes. Danzo clenched his fists and looked at the redhead. Danzo, thinking, I won't risk losing that Genjutsu, it's too dangerous to waste now. I'll never become Hokage that way. RIAS, would be, what should I do, Naruto? I don't know what to do right now. Naruto smiled, never taking his eyes off the old man who was worried because he didn't know much about those two. Naruto, cheerfully, don't worry, thanks to Granny Tsunade, your power of destruction was never revealed, in addition to your ability to use magic. In my case, he never knew about my chains and my flying thunder god technique, but the most important thing now is my ability to sense chakra. RIAS felt and smiled when something occurred to her. RIAS, cheerfully, Naru, do you think I could do something crazy? The blonde man chuckled and shook his head. Naruto, cheerfully, you know, it's the first time I've heard that from someone other than myself. RIAS and Naruto chuckled, much to the confusion of the old man, who was cautious and somewhat distant. But he opened his eyes when the blonde boy flashed blue and, with a kunai, slashed his arm with his Sharingan eyes, destroying 3 eyes in one attack. As he moved to avoid another blow, a powerful lightning bolt struck from a magic circle that suddenly appeared above his head, tearing apart his stomach. RIAS nodded as she dodged a slash to her back and kicked the angry man as he tried to lunge at the redhead. A foot crashed into his face, sending him 2 steps back, and Naruto nodded. Naruto, serious, it seems that if they are destroyed before they appear again, they will be lost. Danzo grunted when he saw his arm with the cut that destroyed 3 of his eyes. RIAS, would be, fine, 5 more times and he'll die. Are you sure about that? Naruto, whispered, yes, be careful, I'll take care of it. We need to be ready. RIAS nodded and threw some kunai that were easily deflected by the man, but that was the first preparation. Danzo pulled out 3 shuriken and with his wind control, he blew a concentrated gust of air, causing the ninja star to fly at high speed towards the two young men, taking them by surprise and causing some damage to their clothes and not very deep cuts. Danzo, serious, to be honest, I never saw you as a threat. You were pathetic. Letting Jiraiya train you was a bad idea. Naruto grinned at that as he began throwing three-pronged kunai around the room. Naruto, cheerfully, well, you simply underestimated me, don't you think? Now all that's left is to pay the price, don't you think? Danzo could see the various kunai with his Sharingan activated, and that was his big mistake. RIAS took advantage of the distraction Naruto created and activated a magic circle, quickly appearing behind Danzo and striking one of his eyes, successfully shattering it. The man was about to attack, but a magic circle in his face made him reappear a few meters behind as a beam pierced his chest. Naruto, cheerfully, just 3 more times, looking at the man who seemed somewhat tired and raised an eyebrow, this chakra is like, shock, jump now. RIAS was confused, but when the ground began to move and break, she jumped back and panicked when she saw many trees emerging from that place. RIAS, shock, what is this? RIAS and Naruto jumped between the branches, cutting them so they wouldn't be pierced or trapped. RIAS concentrated much of her magic into a magic circle to unleash one of her strongest techniques. RIAS, would be, Dark Nova. The sphere engulfed a large part of the forest, which turned to dust at the slightest touch. Naruto, seeing this and how the old man appeared, narrowly dodging the large sphere, smiled, seeing how his hand hadn't escaped with one more of the last 3 eyes he had left, giving Naruto a great opportunity. Naruto, serious, wind style, wind-piercing bullets. Danzo was annoyed. He had almost shown all his trump cards and knew that if he wasted the Kotoeme Tsukumi on one of those 2 brats, he would be in trouble. If the daimyo, the version of false events he had prepared to become Hokage, the man shook himself. First, he had to get out alive, but as he did, 4 wind bullets pierced his head and his other arm, causing him to fall dead. But he quickly disappeared, and the 2 teenagers stood back to back, ready for any action. Naruto, serious, this is bad, but if the chakra is very low, something is wrong. He danced, serious, futon cutting wind. Naruto's eyes widened at the sheer amount of chakra. He quickly made his own hand signs. Naruto, serious, earth style, earth protective wall. A strong wall of earth rose up to protect Naruto and RIAS, but the blonde felt the strain and how the earth couldn't withstand the barrage of sharp wind blades. Upon seeing this, RIAS created a magic circle, as the earthen wall was about to be cut like a simple piece of cheese. RIAS, serious, doing this is very hard. Naruto nodded as he took out 2 kunai and looked at RIAS. Naruto, serious, get away now, it won't be long. His chakra is unstable, I'll take advantage of that. RIAS nodded as she walked away to launch another attack. RIAS, would be, well, you must guide him to that place. If your predictions are correct, that's the last thing he'll use. Naruto, serious, okay, don't get cocky. As he said that, the boy flashed blue. Danzo smiled slightly as he watched the strong wall of earth about to collapse, but a blue light appeared to his left, and the blonde boy plunged a kunai covered in reddish chakra into his shoulder. He tried to back away, but it was too late, as Naruto drove it right into the first Hokage's face. After that, a flash of blue appeared, and he moved away. Danzo, in a panic, no, I'm AAA. Naruto and RIAS heard the agonized scream coming from the old man. Looking in that direction, they noticed many trees sprouting from that arm and destroying it. Naruto, serious, alright, now we'll know if he'll use the eye on us or in that life. RIAS nodded, but then became wary when he saw the man cut off his wooden arm before leaving injured. Danzo was now in a panic, he didn't know what to do. Those 2 brats hadn't just beaten him up, they'd killed him more than 5 times. Now he only had 2 options, neither of them good. Danzo, thinking, if I use genjutsu, maybe I can get rid of one, but this barrier, how can I escape safely? Tsunade already has teams at the exits, and if that woman is alive, the demon would know the methods I use to keep the village safe. Seeing that the man wasn't moving, Naruto also tensed up. He didn't know what was going through the old man's mind. Naruto, serious, just give up already. You won't do anything. You've shown me you don't deserve to live. Accept the punishment. I'm informing you that I'll fulfill my mission, whether I bring you back alive or just your wrinkled raisin head. Danzo, whispering, never. Angry shout, I've done so much since forever. Without me, the village isn't safe. The village needs people like me who aren't afraid of underhanded work. Without me, the great tree will fall. Tearing his suit, revealing a tattoo on his chest and stomach, you're a threat. I'll eliminate you, and together with that beast, there won't be any problems. And they won't come near the village either if you die. Naruto immediately recognized the seal, he simply nodded, and after a few hand gestures, the 3 kunai that RIAS had thrown on the floor in a triangle began to glow. Naruto, serious, Uzumaki style, blocking and nullifying barrier. She danced as she saw a reddish triangle rise up and a strange inscription form on the ground. Danzo, crazy, what is this? No, it's not fair. I deserve the position of Hokage, it's my honor, no one else but me. Naruto sighed at the sight as he approached RIAS, who was also displeased by it. RIAS, serenely, so that's losing your mind. Naruto, sighs, finally, the years don't pass in vain. I think it's for the best. RIAS nodded, but the man's actions still bothered her. Danzo was so focused on ranting, as always, that he deserved the position of Hokage, that he didn't notice how Naruto unlocked 3 of his restraints, causing the seal that had previously stopped working to reactivate. The man could only scream in agony as a black energy enclosed him and covered the entire triangle, absorbing everything for a few minutes. RIAS, curious, what was that? Naruto sighed, and as he approached to hug RIAS, she snuggled into him when she felt her boyfriend embrace her waist. Naruto, calmly, it's an inverted tetragrammaton seal. It's when the body of the seal's bearer begins to release ink that takes the form of a sphere around them. Everything within the sphere's area is trapped and sealed inside the bearer's corpse. RIAS, incredulous, wait, that man wanted to. RIAS stopped, feeling somewhat uncomfortable with her situation. Naruto, sighs, that's right, I decided to block the seal, but that man is more useful now that he's dead. What if he had sealed us in a dead body, meaning a permanent block? Since only someone can access it with the same chakra, in short, a seal that locks anything away in exchange for your life. RIAS shuddered at the thought of being locked inside a corpse. RIAS, sighs, well, the barrier that was prepared was useful than the body. Naruto, shaking his head, you don't understand, there's nothing left besides that. The body explodes, which makes you lose all trace. It's a very dangerous seal. RIAS was relieved that the barrier she helped Naruto create had worked and nothing bad had happened to the 2 of them. The red-haired girl and the blonde boy began walking towards the barrier that was still holding back the great explosion from the old man's body. RIAS, would-be, do you feel something? Naruto, calmly, it's best to be sure. Please, can you launch one last attack? RIAS nodded, creating a black sphere of destruction. She didn't want to risk dealing with someone as annoying as that old man. The duo watched as the barrier disintegrated and everything else disintegrated, even the ink of the seal, and everything around them transformed into nothing. RIAS, sighs, that's it, cheerfully, I think we're done here, right? Naruto looked around, then after a few seconds he nodded and smiled, kissing RIAS's lips, which made her blush. Naruto, cheerfully, I'm glad it's you who's here. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't been the one to cover me. RIAS was surprised by that, so she clung to her boyfriend's hug, happy. RIAS, cheerfully, thank you, and yes, I'll always watch your back, I promise. Naruto chuckled and shook his head. Naruto, cheerfully, I don't see why you're so strong, but it's true, and I'll always be there. You never fight alone, I promise. RIAS smiled happily, he never saw her as someone weak who needed protecting. He was always willing to put his life in her hands. When she saw Naruto's face, she understood, and it was true. RIAS, thinking, yes, I'm also willing to put my life in your hands, Naruto Uzumaki. The couple walked calmly while RIAS dispelled the magical barrier she had created for the fight. Naruto broke free from RIAS's embrace to look at the 2 men lying unconscious on the base floor. Seeing that they were still alive, the blonde boy tied them up with ninja wire and took out a scroll, sealing them. Naruto, cheerfully, alright, let's go, we have to give the report. RIAS smiled, but then she remembered something. RIAS, curious, wait, we won't see your documents. Naruto stopped walking and scratched the back of his neck shyly. Naruto, shyly, oh, I think you're right, I forgot. RIAS chuckled and hugged Naruto before heading to Danzo's office. Tsunade was at her desk watching the different clan leaders who had already given their reports. Shikaku sighs, how troublesome, but well, we've prevented that information from being spread, but we have identified 7 traitors. Inoichi, calmly, if everyone is from the civilian council and Danzo offered large sums of money and status when his plan bears fruit. Tsunade nodded, more relieved that this problem wasn't public. Tsunade, calmly, well, that's good news. Jiraiya is handling spreading the news of Orochimaru's death and other news to divert attention from this event. You can go. Everyone nodded. The Hyuga leader walked calmly towards the door. As the last to leave, he was the only one who heard the Hokage's final whisper. Tsunade whispered, I hope you remember that you still have your head attached to your body because of that boy. The Hyuga leader shuddered at that observation. He merely nodded, turning back to look at the woman with a slight bow. After that, he left, leaving Tsunade with a smile on her lips. The blonde was checking some documents that were still missing so as not to alert some people who didn't know what was happening. She was like that for about 30 minutes when Kakashi, Guy, Yamato, and the rookies along with Sai entered through the door. Kakashi, calmly, ready Tsunade-sama, the root ANBU have already been neutralized and Captain Dragon is taking care of it right now. Tsunade, serenely, I understand. I hope something can be done. They are indispensable personnel now that they are not under the control of that old man. Kakashi, Yamato, and Guy nodded in agreement with that statement. Yamato, calmly, yes, it seems the seal was removed and most of the Foundation's agents decided to cooperate with the village's security. Tsunade nodded more calmly upon learning that they weren't encountering as much resistance. Tsunade, serenely, thank you for that, and how were the prisons? Guy, cheerfully, you shouldn't worry, my youthful fists and the vitality of the youngsters here were a great help. No one escaped and none of our agents were seriously injured. Tsunade nodded, more calmly at that news. Tsunade, sighs, well, that's encouraging news. Looking at her student, Sakura, tell me what happened on your side. Sakura, serenely, nothing of note. 15 inmates were reported dead in the escape attempt. 35 were seriously injured and taken to the medical facility, where they are being treated by Shizen-senpai and an ANBU team. The others were simply bandaged and returned to their cells. A medical team is still providing care there, but most of the injuries are from bumps and bruises sustained in the fight. Tsunade nodded, now calmer, knowing that her staff was unharmed and suffered no casualties in this incident. Kakashi, serious, Naruto and RIAS haven't reported yet, have they? Tsunade, would be, no, they had a difficult task. I hope they didn't have too many problems. The rookies were somewhat worried since they didn't know exactly what was happening. Shika, serious, wouldn't it be better to send a squad now? We don't know how many enemies they'd have to face. Tsunade wanted to say something, but then a cheerful voice made them turn behind them. Naruto, cheerfully, or so worried about us. Upon seeing the blonde man, Tsunade smiled slightly, noticing that they were only tired from the battle, but quickly her expression turned serious. Tsunade, would be, tell me, did you manage to finish? RIAS, serenely, yes, Tsunade-sama, but before anything else, we would like to make a request. Tsunade and the others raised an eyebrow. The blonde Hokage nodded slowly, curious about what they would order. Tsunade, would be, what you want isn't very common, you know. Naruto, serious, we want to form a search team for the Ambu Captain Itachi Uchiha. The room fell silent at that, but not for long, as someone stormed out, furious. Sakura, angry, idiot, have you gone mad? Do you even know what you're saying and the damage that being did to Sasuke-kun? Naruto remained unfazed by that outburst as he pulled out a red folder and placed it on Tsunade's desk. Naruto, serious, Itachi was never the bad guy in this story. In fact, I'm surprised at how stupid Sasuke was. Upon seeing the documents, Tsunade opened her eyes in disbelief at what was revealed. Tsunade, would be, so how dare that mummy? Kakashi, serious, what's happening now, Tsunade-sama? Tsunade, would be, tell the special forces that the capture of Itachi Uchiha is not necessary, his reward is cancelled. Sakura, annoyed, your actions caused Sasuke-kun to leave, teacher. Why would you do that for a monster like him? RIAS, would be, shut up, you don't know the truth. Here, The only one who committed betrayal was Sasuke, nobody else. Naruto sighs, I think that's true. Looking at Tsunade, should I say it or what? Tsunade would be a barrier. This is delicate, and I can't remove them at this point. Later, I'll hold a meeting with the clan heads. I believe the boy deserves support for these years of service. Naruto nodded. After a few hand gestures a barrier of silence was created, and he sighed upon seeing Sakura's angry face, which resembled a very ripe tomato. Naruto, calmly, first of all, you need to calm down. Listen to this before you judge. Sakura nodded, but her anger didn't seem to lessen. 9 years ago, the Uchiha clan was planning a coup. Everyone opened their eyes in disbelief at that revelation. Shikamaru, being the smartest of them all, quickly analyzed that information and came to a conclusion. Shika, serious, you mean that happened right under the third Hokage's nose and nobody noticed? Naruto, serious, it didn't go unnoticed. The old man was in talks to get that clan to stop the coup, but Danzo never allowed it, ruining every meeting and making the resentment grow. Kakashi, serious, so Danzo had a different idea, but where does Itachi fit into that story? RIAS, would be, according to the files, Itachi was the spy for the Uchiha clan, but at the same time he was the village's spy against his clan, that is, a double agent. Naruto, serious, Danzo noticed that they had improvements in certain meetings so he decided to light the powder keg by attacking Shisui Uchiha, stealing one of his Sharingan and sowing doubts about Itachi's work. RIAS, would be, that led to the clan not accepting that agreement, causing even greater tension between the village and that clan. Tsunade, would be, so that old man took that as an opportunity and requested that mission, right? Naruto, serious, that's right. Itachi had two options, help his clan destroy the village and, along with the tensions of those times, start the Fourth Shinobi World War, or kill the clan, become a rogue ninja, and leave Sasuke alive. RIAS, serenely, he decided to kill everyone, to make his younger brother hate his brother, but at the same time to carry a heavy burden on the condition that Sasuke keeps the Uchiha name clean. Everyone was speechless, they couldn't believe that someone was capable of doing that, let alone maintaining any semblance of sanity after committing such acts. Sakura was now very embarrassed, with her head down trying to avoid being seen, but she did notice the disappointed looks on some faces. Naruto sighs, well, yes, but now I'll tell you the reason. Handing her another folder, you won't like that. Tsunade opened the green folder Naruto gave her, and after a few seconds, it was noticeable how she crumpled the paper in anger. Tsunade, would be, that bastard, a genocide just for that, damned decrepit creature. Kakashi, serious, I see then your fight wasn't easy at all, was it? Naruto, sighs, not entirely. Apparently, the Uchiha clan had a technique that allows them to alter reality. The Izanagi technique allows them to obtain Izanagi. Izanagi is a genjutsu that, when activated, eliminates the boundaries between reality and illusion within the personal space of the user. To a certain extent, this allows the user to control their own state of existence and reverse a fatal destiny. It is usually only active for brief moments. Izanagi is the twin jutsu of Izanami, but unlike Izanami, which can choose one's fate, Izanagi can change it. Tsunade, would be, if this information is true, how many times did they fight? RIAS, serenely, some Tsunade-sama, we managed to destroy some eyes, which gave us an advantage in the fight, but in the end, capture was impossible. Naruto, annoyed, that man had the inverted pentagon seal, but we were able to put up a barrier, so if he committed suicide, we tried to seal ourselves in his corpse, but it didn't work. Tsunade, would be, good work, get some rest. The clan leaders will have a meeting tonight, so I'll bring up this topic there. Everyone nodded and Naruto deactivated his barrier. Naruto, cheerfully, great. Come on, what do you say we watch a movie? I think we deserve it. RIAS smiled, snuggled up to Naruto, she liked that. RIAS, cheerfully, that's right, come on, we can do something tonight. Before leaving, Tsunade remembered something. Tsunade, serenely, in fact, brat, in 2 days the Hyuga clan expects you to remove the seal of the caged bird. Hayashi is waiting for you. Naruto nodded as Hinata opened her eyes in disbelief. Hinata, shock, wait, you did it. Naruto smiled as he looked at her. Naruto, cheerfully, yes, I started studying that since I became aware of that dream and I discovered some things. Now you have a clear path. I hope you achieve your goals. Naruto, still hugging RIAS, left the Hokage office and headed to his apartment to spend some time together after being apart for a week. When Neji saw his cousin looking somewhat dejected, he put a hand on her shoulder. Neji, calmly, let's go home. He was on a mission before that too. The girl shook her head at her teammate, but her sadness was still evident. Hinata, calmly, Shino-kun, I think it would be right to leave Akamaru at home, don't you think? Shino raised an eyebrow but nodded, they had to do at least that. Kakashi sighed, but Tsunade called him. Tsunade, calmly, Kakashi, go and alert the clan heads. Guy, Yamato, you too, it's urgent. The Jounin nodded and left in a shun sign to deliver the news. Inuzuka Complex. Kiba was annoyed, his punishments weren't kind at all. His mother made him wake up very early to feed the ninja dogs so the other clan members could rest a little longer for their missions. He had to take care of all the ninja dogs in the clan, that was bathing them, brushing their fur, and other things, giving the shinobi more time to train and rest. At this moment he was cleaning the place where the dogs slept. His mother and sister had gone out and hadn't returned. He was annoyed because he had noticed something about what they were doing, and he knew it was something important. It made him very angry, as well as frustrated at not being able to do anything. And the worst part was that, being a civilian, he had no right to know anything. He was lost in his thoughts until he heard someone knock on his door, and the familiar scent of Akamaru reached his nose. Kiba, calmly, so you've successfully completed your mission. The boy approached her door, about to speak to greet his dog, when all he felt was a fist that broke his nose. He clutched his nose, trying to stop the blood gushing out. When he opened his eyes, he shuddered at the sight of Hinata's cold face and Byakugan eyes. She wasn't the happiest girl in the world. Hinata, would be, Akamaru behaved well. Those were the leftover supplies. They're in the suitcase Hana-san gave us after ruining my life. I hope I never see you again. Hinata wiped away a tear of anger that was in the corner of her eye. Upon hearing that, Kiba growled angrily, but before he could say anything, a calm voice also spoke to him. Shino, calmly, I see you're still angry. Offering his hand, I don't understand why you did that, but after what Naruto has been doing, he's certainly jealous of RIAS-san. As Kiba was lifted up by his friend and former teammate, the man could only hold his nose from the unexpected blow. Kiba, annoyed, I understand my actions were desperate, but it was for her own good. Imagine what would have happened if she had been with him. Shino simply shook his head discreetly as he began walking home to rest. Shino, calmly, I still think you acted wrongly, and he's matured, he's not the same as he was at the academy. Kiba just grunted in annoyance as he stroked the head of his dog, who was beside him looking worried about his owner. Before entering the house, his sister's voice called his attention. Hana, sighs, come in, I'll fix that nose of yours. I see you're finally letting it out. I was surprised I only broke your nose. Kiba, annoyed, shut up. Besides, you know that blonde guy doesn't deserve her. I had to do something so she wouldn't ruin her life. No one but me should mark her as my woman, not that blonde guy. Hana, shaking her head, you don't understand the heart, do you? But it doesn't matter anymore. Come in. I know you still have work, and Mom went to a meeting. Let's hope she comes out safely. Kiba looked at his sister who was performing a medical jutsu to repair the blow Hinata had given him. Kiba, curious, meeting. Do you think there will be any problem? What do you mean? Hana finished treating her brother's nose and stretched. Hana, cheerfully, I can't talk about shinobi topics, pointing at her dogs. The triplets need a bath. We had something to do and they got a little dirty with some bad stuff. Brush them. When you're done, I'll make dinner. The Inuzuka clan teenager only grunted in annoyance but bit his tongue. He knew he wasn't in good standing with his clan and it was better to obey, so resignedly he went to do what was asked to finish his remaining tasks. End of chapter. Thank you for supporting me in this story. I hope you enjoy this chapter. I'll try to speed up the story's events a bit. I'd appreciate your feedback. I'm considering a trip to RIAS's original world. I don't know how to do it yet, but I want to know if you'd like the story to go in that direction. Clarification: the story is about RIAS in the Naruto world, so even though she travels to the DxD world, she'll return to the elemental nations. I don't know how I'll do that, but I'll figure it out. Part 42, Unknown Location. In that place, a man with orange hair was seen. The man had purple eyes and rings. He looked impassive as he stared at a large statue with 10 fingers and 9 eyes, but the bad thing was that 7 of those eyes were already open. But someone behind him spoke to him. Zetsu, calmly, that's right, Leader Sama. According to the information, Jiraiya of the Sannin is heading towards the village hidden in the rain. What should we do? The man said nothing as he took a few steps while the statue hid again. At that moment he looked back at him, still impassive. Pain, serious, nothing, he thinks he'll just go there like that. I'm going. It's time he understands the truth. It's time that annoying woman leaves. The black and white man on the flytrap smiled madly as he watched the man emerge from the cave, but the man didn't just come out, he turned around and started talking again. Zetsu, calmly, then that's ready, Madara-sama. From the shadows emerges a man with an orange mask and a Sharingan eye that glows with madness. Madara, amused, the village barrier is better than I thought, but I know they'll come out from time to time, right? Showing a red sphere, with this, I'll prove the truth about that girl, don't you think? Zetsu, cheerfully, I understand, Tobi-chan. I'll go check that out now. The village isn't easy to invade. Do you think he knows that? The man laughed in a childish way, and the voice of that serious and intimidating woman was now more than that of an immature child. Tobi, cheerfully, relax, Zetsu-senpai, but Leader Sama is terrifying, don't you think? They both laughed as Tobi disappeared into the shadows while the plant man vanished into the earth. In a bar near the border country of the Land of Fire, Jiraiya was standing outside while a toad spoke. Toad, serious, so Naruto managed to win and the foundation is now under the command of Tsunade-sama and the seal was removed. Jiraiya smiled as he drank from the dish of liquor in his hands. Jiraiya, cheerfully, good for the brat and that redhead. I knew they'd be alright. The news of Orochimaru's death has been the most talked about rumor in the larger villages. Danzo's death and the Leaf Village's situation are still unchanged. That's all, Toad, calmly, I understand, Jiraiya-sama. It's good that this remains a secret, but do you think it was wise to spread the word that you're on your way to that village? The Toad Sannin laughed merrily at that. Jiraiya, cheerfully, oh, what are you worried about? I'm Jiraiya of the Sannin, what are you worried about? The Toad sighed at the man's attitude but knew that he wouldn't change at this point in his life. Toad, serious, very well, Jiraiya-sama, call us. Infiltration will surely be difficult, but we'll be ready. Good luck, sir. Jiraiya chuckled, still holding his liquor bottle, as the Toad left to give Tsunade a full report. Jiraiya, calmly, then I think I should complete this. I still have a few days to get to, unclear/etc. Without further ado, the man went to the bar to speak with those in charge of information for the village. Leaf Village. Naruto and RIAS were calmly in Tsunade's office, who had called her team. Yamato, calmly, then the Sand asked for help to find that rogue puppeteer. Tsunade, would be, yes, it seems the Kazekage requested that help, since that man is heading to the desert. The hidden Leaf Village is closer to the ruins of Roran. Sakura is already preparing some things, since we don't know if there's a Sand Village team there, and she's the medical ninja I trust most. Naruto, serious, we understand, then we must leave right now, right? RIAS, would be, then we will go ahead. Tsunade, as if, we don't know what she desires in the ruins, but, pulling out a scroll, there is a seal placed there by the 4th Hokage so long ago. You must be vigilant and protect it at all costs. That's all. Go. Sakura will find you at the gate. The three nodded seriously, but before that, they were about to leave on their mission. Before they could, 2 people entered the office. It was an old man with pale eyes who glared furiously at Naruto, who only smiled. Hayashi clenched his fists. Ever since the caged bird seal was removed, things had changed in the clan. They no longer had the same hierarchy, and without those methods to keep them in check, the branch members had more freedom. This didn't sit well with one of the clan elders, as all his past dealings had taken their toll. No one could take care of him, and he couldn't force anyone to because of the threats. Because of what his peer elders had done, only the slave seal could do. Hayashi's father, serious, set your terms. I want the seal back. If the price is reasonable, it will be done. Naruto scoffed at that, pulling out a blue folder. Naruto, cheerfully, good, that's only fair. Pay what was originally owed, and you yourself send the letter detailing the crimes. I know you agreed to this, but no proof was found. Seriously, when your head and Hayashi's are hanging for your crimes, and the money is in my accounts, I will grant permission for the seal again. Naruto knew the old man wasn't willing to pay that much, and he knew that revealing his actions and ties to Danzo would brand his clan as traitors. He also knew the sum of money represented the corruption he himself had approved during his time as clan leader, so he couldn't blame anyone else. Hayashi, for his part, shuddered. He knew the boy wasn't like that and hated that tradition of his clan. The boy knew no one would accept those terms, he was simply playing games. Now that his seal had a price and the Hokage was present, they had to make their counteroffer, hoping she would accept. But he knew the boy was stubborn. Tsunade, serenely, then you'll make a counteroffer. The old Hyuga growled at the smiling blonde man but nodded, much to everyone's curiosity. Elder Hyuga, serious, a marriage. The Hyuga clan offers its heir, Hinata. We can announce the wedding and... I didn't finish because an aura of death invaded the room. It was RIAS, who was frankly furious. RIAS, angrily, an arranged marriage doesn't bring happiness. Being forced into marriage and spending your life with someone you don't love or who can't love you the way you deserve, having children and not knowing if you'll love them, and thinking you only brought life into the world out of obligation, how does that feel? Do you understand? The old man grunted, seeing Naruto hug RIAS, which made him even angrier. Naruto, calmly, it's true, Hinata deserves someone who can love her as she deserves. She's not a tool or a bargaining chip. If you think that way, let me tell you, I'll regret not reporting the corrupt deal with the seal. If you dare, I'll make sure that the last shred of dignity you have left is obliterated. Smiling, try that pink outfit on me. It'll make a great souvenir photo. The old man just clenched his defeated fists. Now he didn't know what to do. That boy already had a girlfriend. That fine was unpayable, and if he accepted, he would be executed along with his son. He had only been spared for lack of evidence, and Hashin, because of the seal on his forehead, had been declared a victim of manipulation. The stares and the accusations had been humiliating, but his head was still on his shoulders, so he would bite his tongue about this. Tsunade, serious, this team is taking too long for a high-priority mission with the Sand Village, so if you decide you want the seal, I'll close the deal. Hayashi's father, clenching his teeth, no, the deal is not acceptable. Naruto, cheerfully, okay then, taking out the scroll with the seal, honey, you'll do the honors. RIAS smiled, creating a sphere of destruction and evaporating the parchment. RIAS, cheerfully, of course, love, that seal is destroyed forever. Naruto, cheerfully, well, I've destroyed the seal. Seriously, I'm not naive. I know you know how to put the seal on. If you dare to even think about doing it again, the truth will come out. I hope you're aware of that. The old man just grunted. He never in his life believed that this noisy, rowdy brat could uncover a traitor's schemes, uncover his clan's secrets. Worse still, they couldn't do anything against this brat, since he had information about his clan's dealings, and if he wanted, he could simply send a letter. He knew his reputation and all the prestige of his clan would be ruined, so he said nothing. Hayashi, calmly, if that's your final decision, we'll withdraw. Naruto smiled as he hugged RIAS and placed a hand on Sai Yamato's shoulder. Seeing his intentions, Yamato smiled and touched Naruto's shoulder. Naruto, cheerfully, alright, we have a mission, so goodbye. After saying that, the blonde man led his team towards the door with his flying thunder god technique, much to the astonishment of the old Hyuga man. Hayashi's father, annoyed, Hirashin is an A rank. That boy is an Uzumaki, and you're making deals with a clan of puppy tamers? How disappointing. Hayashi said nothing, still annoyed with the Inuzuka boy and the Jounin who collaborated. If those two idiots hadn't done that stupid thing, his daughter would be happy with the person she loved, and his clan would have had a better reputation. Although he shared the blame, he never wanted the boy to end up with his daughter. So, when he learned that a boy from a prestigious clan in the village wanted her, he quickly accepted a contract, noticing that his daughter was happy, so he didn't have much of a problem with it. Tsunade simply leaned back in her seat, amused, and shook her head. She knew that old man. Now that he had no servants, he was nothing more than a bitter, useless old fool, which made her laugh. Seeing that both of the nuisances had left, she simply let go of her thoughts about her Sannin comrade. At the gates of Konoha, Sakura was somewhat annoyed. She had arrived an hour ago and was already angry with the team for taking so long. Sakura, annoyed, how dare you, it's already late. Before he could say anything else, a blue flash appeared and Naruto's team appeared. Naruto, cheerfully, well, since Sakura's here too, let's go. Sakura growled at her comrade but only crossed her arms to listen to the plan. RIAS hugged her boyfriend's arm. She was still angry, she had hated her engagement. Losing the right to love someone made her blood boil. She found comfort in Naruto's strong arms, who wasn't doing any better. Hinata was a dear friend to him, and now he couldn't reciprocate her feelings, but he wanted her to find someone to spend her life with and start a family, so he didn't mind confronting that bitter pair. Yamato, seeing those two looking somewhat thoughtful, called their attention. Yamato, serious, okay, I know you're a bit annoyed, but now let's take care of this, understood? They both nodded. Sakura was curious about what had happened, but she would investigate later. Naruto, sighs, that's right, if we go to the ruins of Roran they're 2 days away, we must be quick. Sai, calmly, well, flying will be faster. Yamato, serious, it's true, we must shorten the route. According to Kazekage-sama, the A-rank rogue Mukade is searching for a strange energy that only exists in that place, something that has protected ley lines since ancient times. RIAS opened her eyes slightly as she remembered something from her world. RIAS, thinking, how Kyoto then someone like Yasaka-sama. Naruto snapped her out of those thoughts when he spoke. Naruto, calmly, that's strange. Extensive chakra networks and a puppeteer, something doesn't sound right. The others nodded without saying more. The ninjas took an ink bird that Sai created and left to fulfill their mission. 1 day later, the Leaf Shinobi group arrived at a place near their borders. The shinobi stationed themselves to be able to search the surroundings for their target. At this moment Naruto and RIAS were walking around curious about what they saw. RIAS, curious, what would happen? This seems like a somewhat advanced society. The red-haired woman watched with a hint of pity, awaiting a response from this place. Naruto nodded, also impressed by what he saw. Naruto, calmly, the truth is, there isn't much to it. It's said that the people in this place couldn't prevent the war from ending their lives. By evacuating the village, the people were saved, but this was a point where a battle took place. RIAS nodded, annoyed by that, but didn't say much. She knew the level of idiocy that humanity possessed. The group was walking peacefully, but both of them noticed they weren't alone. RIAS whispered, do you think he'll attack or leave us alone? Naruto shook his head as he threw a kunai toward some nearby ruins. As he did so, he grabbed RIAS by the waist and a puppet nearly impaled the pair. Naruto, serious, Mukade, really? A scrawny, balding man gave them a somewhat conceited smile. Mukade, arrogantly, I see I wasn't the first to arrive, but it doesn't matter. Moving some chakra threads, now die. Naruto chuckled as RIAS stepped forward with a smile. RIAS, cheerfully, simple dolls are nothing, creating a magic circle, dark nova. The man groaned at the explosions as he noticed more of his puppets being destroyed. Mukade, serious, okay, the distraction is ready. Naruto wondered what he meant. That's when he noticed the rest of his group was also in a fight. Knowing they would be alright, he focused on following them, even though the puppets that kept interrupting them weren't fun. Naruto, smiling, well, we should make our way through. What do you say, darling? RIAS chuckled, pulling out 2 kunai as her hands glowed with chakra. RIAS, cheerfully, well, you'll see what I've done with Tsunade-sama. Naruto swallowed hard, those words weren't pleasant to hear. Hundreds of puppets were thrown at the two of them, but that was nothing. The pair demonstrated their compatibility, destroying everything with great skill. Mukade, seeing this, growled, but she had a blind spot and took advantage of it. Mukade smiled as he saw the main ruins. He smiled when he noticed a certain altar that shone with power. Mukade, cheerfully, if I manage to seal it, nothing will happen. The man was about to approach his target when wooden spikes emerged from the ground, forcing him to jump. Before he could follow, a three-pronged kunai almost pierced his leg, but he narrowly dodged it. Sakura managed to infuse a large amount of chakra for a powerful punch, but a puppet intervened and was reduced to splinters by the force of the impact. Mukade smiled as she managed to slip away towards the seal. Naruto, serious, it's an unbreakable seal. You'd better surrender. You'll be judged in Suna for your crimes. Yamato nodded as Sai and Sakura stayed back, ready to act if anything happened. RIAS approached her boyfriend. She felt something, an energy she didn't like at all. It was so familiar that it sent a chill down her spine. Mukade, amused, relax, kid, I'm not trying to undo the seal. Taking off his shirt, I'll absorb it. The shinobi opened their eyes as the sealing matrix rose up their arms, but RIAS clearly noticed a magic circle, though the energy was clear to her. RIAS, thinking, fallen angel, but how? The redhead knew that this man wasn't just absorbing chakra, that it was also magic. Without thinking twice, she stepped forward to stop him. Upon seeing what RIAS had done, Naruto accelerated as a powerful light emerged from the seal they were absorbing. Yamato threw his branches to catch them, but it was useless as he too was absorbed by that strange light. Sakura wanted to jump and try to do something, but Sai was faster, grabbing the girl with an ink bird to get away from whatever that was. Both boys just watched that strange phenomenon with concern. Unknown location. Naruto and RIAS began to wake up. The first thing the couple heard was a beautiful voice singing a calm and serene melody. The duo quickly stood up to see the figure of a red-haired girl of the same age as them. The blonde, who didn't know what had happened, tried to get her attention. Naruto, shouting, "Hey, excuse me, but..." Upon hearing the unfamiliar voice, the girl started running, not knowing what was happening. Naruto and RIAS tried to stop her to explain what was happening, but as the girl crossed the threshold, she stopped behind two guards who, to Naruto, had a familiar energy. Upon seeing the intruders, both guards quickly activated a barrier that prevented them from leaving. When they tried to approach, two guards lunged at them. They quickly got into a fighting stance, but were surprised when those guards fell to the ground, destroyed. RIAS, it would be puppets, that's all. Naruto, shock, wait, don't close us. Naruto sighed as he watched more layers emerge from the barrier, trapping them in that place. RIAS sighs, well, I think it'll be from above. Can you help me? Naruto looked up at the sky and noticed a crystal, so he nodded. Naruto, cheerfully, sure, let's go. The couple easily jumped across an ancient, dilapidated structure. Upon reaching the wall, they threw a chakra-infused kunai, shattering the glass to escape. As the couple left, they were surprised by the views and the large buildings that existed in that place. RIAS, impressed, wow, certainly a great place. Naruto was also impressed by the large number of buildings he saw, but they had to quickly snap out of their daze when some guards approached them, considering them threats. The couple groaned as they saw them being rushed towards them. RIAS, would be, what are those? Naruto, serious, puppets, where did we go after that? None of them had time to react when they were attacked by the puppets, which were equipped with many weapons. RIAS, would be, what's wrong? They're puppets, but aren't they indestructible or what? The redhead kicked another puppet that immediately formed, and that seemed to attract more since there were already more of them than before. Naruto was also frustrated by this until he remembered something on his back and pulled out a dagger which he quickly infused with chakra. He smiled as he cut the thin threads that gave life to the puppets. They fell uselessly to the ground. Naruto, cheerfully, it's true, chakra blades are effective against puppet strings. Looking up at RIAS, honey, your chakra knife cuts the strings, that's enough for now. The redhead nodded, charging chakra into her knife and slashing at the puppets. The couple, remembering that detail, realized the puppets were an easy problem to deal with until more appeared. 3 of them joined hands. RIAS opened her eyes, a purple magic circle appeared, and a spear of light began to form. RIAS was in shock, so she couldn't move. She was so stunned she didn't even flinch when the spear of light was thrown directly at her. Naruto saw the shock on RIAS's face. He kicked one puppet's head while propelling himself onto the other. He tackled RIAS, who snapped out of her shock when she saw Naruto get hit by the light spear. RIAS, shock, Naruto. The redhead wanted to run towards Naruto, but many puppets blocked her path. This time, however, the woman was angry, and she showed it when a red and black aura covered her body as she lashed out at the puppets. With Naruto, the blonde man had crashed through a roof and groaned in pain as he fell to the floor. Naruto, in pain, what the hell was that? The blonde man had managed to create a few chains to protect his back. The blonde man quickly propelled himself forward when more puppets arrived towards him. Naruto, annoyed, so many, how much chakra does he have? The blonde man was about to attack when someone mistook him for someone wearing a mask, but what distracted him was the golden hair he had only ever seen in a mirror every day of his life, and he heard something. Sad face serious, expansion jutsu. Sad face serious, insect absorption jutsu. Naruto, curious, what's going on? Who are they? The blonde man slightly separated his mask, revealing the leaf emblem on his forehead protector. Sad face serious, I can't tell you much, but we're leaf shinobi like you, and it's a secret mission. Naruto, sighs, we're in the same boat. We were in the ruins of Roran a little while ago, but suddenly we appeared here. Serious, what are you saying? This is Roran. We're looking for something here. I suggest you leave the village. It's better that way, we'll take care of it. Worried, also, I think we should treat that wound. Naruto raised an eyebrow when he saw his leg was bleeding a little, but he just sighed. Naruto, sighs, don't worry, he'll heal soon, but I need to find someone before then. The blonde man raised an eyebrow, he had a bandage on his hands. The wound seemed deep, but when the other blonde man stood up, he noticed how the wound was covered by a layer of reddish chakra. Mind in shock, but how is that chakra from? Naruto interrupted that train of thought by speaking. Naruto, sighs, I need to figure out what to do and find her luck on her mission. The blonde boy wearing a mask, like the other two, opened his eyes when the boy flashed blue. They quickly shook that off as they continued on their way to complete their mission, although the blonde one had certain thoughts on his mind. With Naruto, the blonde man sighed when he saw the flash and all he found was a burnt bag of weapons. He knew she had used her power of destruction. He simply picked up RIAS's weapons and set out to find his girlfriend. The blonde boy started running, guided by the trail of destruction left by RIAS's power, while searching for something that caught his attention. Naruto, curious, a parade is passing by now. The blonde man knew his girlfriend was strong, so he went to investigate what was happening since something wasn't right. As he approached, he noticed the cheers and the enthusiasm of the townspeople, although something wasn't right for the blonde man. Then I noticed the noise increase and immediately recognized the girl who came out to greet the crowd celebrating her. Minutes before, the girl was happily in her room when a black-haired man dressed in an elegant suit saw her with a smile. Sad-faced cheerfully, Princess Sarah is late, come on, her people are waiting. The girl smiled when she saw the young man who called her. Sarah, cheerfully, oh, I'm sorry, Tamil-san. Looking at the empty throne in front of them both, I don't think I'm ready for this position yet. The man she had her back to smiled mockingly and amusedly, but he didn't let the girl know as he spoke to her in a comforting tone. Tamil, cheerfully, relax, Sarah-sama. I'm sure our former sovereign will be pleased that you've taken command. Come on, the people await you. Anro-kuzen is already at the gates. The girl smiled and went to her closet to get her kimono for the event. Seeing this, the dark-haired man left the room, but someone else appeared outside. Sad face serious, Tamil, tell me, the princess is ready, it's time for her big moment. The man finished with a somewhat wicked smile. The man laughed, shaking his head. Tamil, cheerfully, yes Anro-kuzen, the man sneered, the preparations have been made. If you are useful, the girl will breathe her last breath today. The man frowned at him because of that. Anro-kuzen, serious, remember who you're talking to, Tamil. Come on, we have a festival to celebrate. Tamil wasn't offended in the slightest, he just shook his head, amused. Tamil, amused mind, since when does this fool think I work for him? The man saw the fat man in that expensive kimono, chuckled to himself, that idiot was still useful. With RIAS, the redhead was annoyed, she had finished off her enemies and left those annoying puppets behind. She wanted to call her boyfriend, but when she reached for the bag of weapons she had in a pouch, she was frustrated when she didn't feel it. RIAS, annoyed, damn it, I have to find him. Those light spears are dangerous. The woman knew her boyfriend was strong, but she wouldn't let her guard down. She started running, getting closer to the village, hoping to find someone who could give her information about Naruto's whereabouts. She ran around very fast, but before she could continue, the noise of a festival caught her attention. RIAS, relieved, yes, surely someone will say something to me in that place. She quickened her pace to see more of the festival. She knew her Naruto was strong, so she wasn't worried, and she also knew the blonde boy would look for her, so it was best to get closer. The girl raised an eyebrow, the place seemed so unusual. Then the cheers grew louder, and as she followed the scene, her eyes widened when she saw a familiar head of reddish hair. She started to run. Could she ask her? Before reaching a place to jump to that rooftop, RIAS opened her eyes as the place where the girl stood suddenly broke, causing her to fall unceremoniously to the ground below. Before acting, the woman sighed as she watched an orange blur catch the plummeting girl. First he was relieved that the girl wasn't hurt, but then a smile spread across his face at those actions. RIAS, smiling, oh darling, I'll talk about this later. Then she became alert when an unsettling energy emanated from that place. I'm sure that's not normal. Without another word, the girl dusted herself off. She had to take care of that fallen angel, so she left. She had to meet up with Naruto. The blonde man let go of the girl who was about to fall from that height. Naruto, curious, what happened? Are you alright? The girl got a little upset and slapped him in annoyance. Sarah, annoyed, what's wrong with you? Why are you coming near me? The girl felt a little embarrassed when the boy rubbed his bruised cheek. Naruto, annoyed, hey, I saved you a while ago, that doesn't give me any points. The girl nodded sheepishly as she bowed somewhat embarrassed. Sarah, embarrassed, yes, sorry, my name is Sarah. I'm the current queen of Roran. It's a pleasure, and thank you for saving me. Naruto, cheerfully, Naruto, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, it's a pleasure to meet you. Curious, hey, didn't you notice someone pushed you? What happened? The girl was about to answer, but before she could say anything, the same three men from before approached them. Sad face serious, I thought you left, you know. We're looking for someone who wants the monarch of this place dead. Naruto rolled his eyes, but before he could defend himself, the girl stood protectively in front of him. Sarah, annoyed, what's going on here and who do you think you are? I am Sarah, the monarch of Roran. The blonde man took a step forward, already somewhat defeated. Sad face sigh, well, I suppose so, and it wasn't our intention to inconvenience you, my lady, but we've come because of certain rumors. It's said that this place is preparing a large arsenal of weapons and a great army is being formed with the help of the ley line power of this place. The girl seemed offended by that. Sarah, annoyed, those who believe that are lying. The girl ran away. Naruto sighed when he saw her. Naruto, sigh, okay, let's follow her. I want to know what else is going on here. Without further ado, the blonde man followed the queen of the place, and following in his footsteps, the Leaf team entered the great tower. Upon entering, none of them noticed the girl approaching from afar and saw where they were entering. The group of male shinobi walked towards a place filled with crystals and noticed the girl singing near a window, depicting a woman and her daughter in her arms. Naruto, cheerfully, okay Sarah, don't worry, we'll help you with this. Relax. The girl was annoyed by those slanderous remarks, they bothered her. Sad face sigh, I think it's not so important to protect our identity anymore. Removing his mask, Sandaime Sama's information was accurate, as strange energies have been felt for some years now. At that point, another team member would open his mouth. Sad face serious, Mukade is the man involved in this beautiful act. Naruto, curious, I see, I came here for someone, that man, but the Roran I know was just ancient ruins. Sad face serious, as Choza and Minato said, what they believe is that someone interrupted the flow of time, filling it with a future era. Minato, serious, Shibi is right. If that's true, the dimensional rift was altered, bringing people from the future to this era. Naruto nodded, his eyes analytical as he looked at the blonde man. Then one of the four stone faces came to mind. Naruto, excitedly, I've got it. You're the fourth Hokage. I knew you were familiar. Choza, calmly, I see that's what's happening, since at this moment there are only 3 stone faces. Naruto nodded curiously, as the man was also glancing at Naruto. Sarah, for her part, grunted in annoyance. They were accusing 2 of her most precious people. Sarah, annoyed, you're mistaken, Anro-kun. Besides, Tamil-san are people I trust completely. It's impossible that this could happen. Since the 2 of them arrived in the city, it has only prospered. If it does happen, I'll ask them myself. Naruto sighed at that as he placed a hand on his shoulder. Naruto, cheerfully, don't worry, we'll investigate what's going on here. Sarah nodded. The older blonde man was about to speak when he felt an energy that made him stiffen. He robotically turned around and swallowed hard as a red aura slowly appeared on the stairs, and strands of red hair began to emerge. He wasn't the only Naruto in the same boat, but he knew what was happening and who was about to appear. His predictions were accurate when RIAS's decidedly unhappy figure appeared with a smile and a very melodious voice, further unnerving Naruto. RIAS, melodiously, oh Naruto, can I ask where you've been? You know, I didn't know you were looking for women. Naruto took a step back while smiling nervously. Naruto, scared, RIAS, calm down, it's not what you think, look. RIAS paid no attention to any of the other people as she took Naruto's shoulder and whispered in his ear. RIAS, smiling, come on, I want to talk about something. Naruto, shyly, come on, I'm sure the witnesses are interested too, don't you think? RIAS smiled more sweetly as she threw Naruto to a place where no one could see. Seconds later, a thud was heard, followed by a cry of pain. Naruto, in pain, hi. Seconds later, RIAS came out after her, followed by Naruto who was rubbing his cheek, which had a handprint on it. RIAS, sighs, well, what's happening here now? The redhead, when she noticed more of who was there, saw a man who, if he had those mustache marks, was clearly the spitting image of her partner. Naruto rolled his eyes at that, now calmer. Naruto, cheerfully, calm down RIAS, let's see. From what I understand, Mukade is the one behind these problems and the near assassination of Queen Sarah. The redhead girl nodded, but still glanced between the 2, who looked like drops of water. Minato also changed the subject while speaking. Minato, serious, alright, let's go. We'll take care of the search. We want you to look after Lady Sarah. Naruto nodded, thinking about what to do, and then, nodding, he pulled out a bag of weapons. Naruto, sighs, fine, we'll take that part of the job. Offering the bag to RIAS, here, I found that before we got here. We need it if we have any problems. RIAS nodded as she arranged the weapons she had in the bags they used that were left over. Minato shook off those thoughts as he pulled out a kunai that were familiar to the blonde. Minato, serious, those kunai were made especially for me. Naruto rolled his eyes and nodded. Naruto, sighs, yes, I know how to use those kunai. Pulling out one of his own, if you need anything, call me. We're here to help. Minato was surprised to see that they were the same kunai that he had used, only the seal had changed, and it was a different formula for the Flying Thunder God technique. RIAS, calmly, it's not all there, there's an energy that's been bothering me since we got here, there's something very dangerous. Naruto nodded, he too felt an energy that seemed corrupted and a light that was replaced by darkness. Naruto, calmly, it's true, I haven't located her completely yet, but I hope to find her, that will be our goal. Choza, calmly, thank you for the information. We'll be on the lookout. Don't get into any trouble, okay? Naruto nodded and took RIAS's hand. Naruto, happy, don't worry, we'll be attentive. RIAS nodded, still looking at the man. She said nothing when Naruto pulled her back down the corridor. The queen of the place had taken advantage of the distraction to get ahead, but it was nothing to the 2 shinobi. Minato, calmly, we have to keep going, let's go. Choza, cheerfully, come on, I know it's a mission, but he's your son after all. Maybe a little encouragement would have been good. Minato said nothing as he stared at the kunai in his hands. Minato, calmly, come on, we have work to do. The blonde man watched for a few seconds, then the 3 disappeared. RIAS noticed that, she saw her boyfriend who was looking straight ahead. RIAS, calmly, do you think it's the truth? Naruto chuckled as he continued on his way. Naruto, cheerfully, I think so, but we have things to do now. Don't worry, I'm fine. The redhead nodded, She knew he wasn't quite right, so she just rubbed the hand she was holding as they ran to find the queen of the place. The blonde smiled at his girlfriend for the affection. At that point, the three of them went outside, noticing the girl they were looking to take up in an elevator. With Sarah. The woman leaned back in the elevator. She was somewhat annoyed. Sarah, annoyed, that's a lie. Tamil and Anro-Kuzan are good people. These accusations are upsetting. I'll talk to them, I'm sure they know what was going on. She started walking down a hallway and was suddenly pulled into a room where she noticed many figures, some of them armed. Sad face would be, please return them. The girl was startled by that and took a step back. Sarah, serious, so you're the ones who want me dead? Annoyed, if that's what you want, at least have the decency to come out of anonymity. Just then, Naruto and RIAS opened the door and saw the figures in the room looking serious. RIAS, would be, what's happening? Naruto sensed the emotions in the room. He knew nothing was wrong, but those people didn't have bad intentions. Naruto, cheerfully, calm down, and can we know what happened? Then the women removed their hoods, revealing their faces. Wink with a frown, embarrassed, my name is Sarai, I'm sorry and I'm not a bad girl, I never meant to do any harm. Sad face bowing, my name is Masako. I'm sorry about this. We never meant to do this, but since our pleas were ignored, we had no other choice. Please forgive us. Sarah raised an eyebrow as she took a step forward. Sarah, serenely, tell me then what you want in return. Outside the building, Naruto, RIAS, Sarah along with Sarai and Masako emerged from a ventilation duct. As they left, those present hid while the crowd cheered as the parade and celebration continued. Sarah, cheerfully, look at that, don't you think it's beautiful? Naruto and RIAS sensed something wasn't right. Sarai mocked that. Sarai, mockingly, ha, yeah, everyone who knows about that knows her as the puppet queen. That caught the attention of those two, although Sarah got annoyed by it and the other woman scolded her. Masako, serious, just drop it, but, sighs, I don't think I can scold her for expressing her feelings. Sarah, annoyed, what's wrong? What do you mean? Naruto looked up and noticed the pipe. He took his chakra knife and infused it with energy. When he was satisfied, he threw the weapon towards the chakra threads. When that happened, 5 people fell lifeless to the ground. Naruto, serious, so that's it. I guess this was never true. The girl watched in shock. RIAS, curious, Hilo's lo chakra, the whole town is full of puppets, pointing at a tower, I think they always had a replacement. The queen of Roran peered out and opened her eyes in shock as she saw a puppet of herself waving to all the puppets below. Sarah, shock, impossible. But since they arrived, they've only been kind. How did this happen? Naruto sighed, taking the girl's shoulder, and looked at RIAS. Naruto, cheerfully, relax, we'll finish this right now. You with me? RIAS smiled too, offering her hand in support, and she too smiled. RIAS, cheerfully, that's right, don't worry, we'll free the town. We must stop those two, let's go. The girl nodded resolutely, she had to get answers. Without further ado, the group ran towards a hatch that Naruto opened. Naruto, cheerfully, don't worry, we'll rescue your family. The 2 women nodded, more at ease. Naruto helped the 2 women get down the stairs. RIAS, whispered, what is this place? Naruto also paid attention, he felt a lot of tired energy and the accumulated energy that occupied. Sarah, would be, it's part of the ley line that provides energy through the pipes. That directs the ley line's power to the entire city. It was all Tamil-san's idea. The largest one actually goes to the main palace. RIAS tensed up, that name was impossible to forget. It was a story his brother had told him about the war between the old Satan's side and the new faction. Flashback. RIAS, around 14 years old, is seen happily browsing some books when her sister-in-law enters through the door. Graphia, serenely, Ojo-sama, I was looking for you. Your lessons will begin soon. You must join Akino-chan. That pleased the red-haired girl as she tucked the book under her arm and nodded. RIAS, cheerfully, let's go then, Graphia-ne-chan. The woman nodded with a small smile as she waited for the girl to come out. Seeing her arm, she smiled slightly at the book. It was an ancient tale about something the underworld knew little about. In fact, according to her, only 10 people knew of that event, and as far as she could remember, only 5 were still alive. She shook off that thought as she followed RIAS to the room where Akino had prepared the equipment for her lessons. Upon arriving, she smiled when she saw her old friend, who smiled back. Akino, cheerfully, RIAS-sama, everything is ready and Graphia-sama can begin. RIAS nodded, setting the book aside, while Graphia took a few steps ahead of the girls, picking up one of the books from the shelf behind her. Graphia, calmly, well, let's begin with today's lesson. I didn't finish because someone came through the door looking somewhat shy while carrying a red-haired child covered in mud, much to Graphia's disbelief. RIAS, curious, you were on Onisama's land. The older redhead chuckled, but paled at the icy stare his wife gave him. Graphia, calmly, well, dear, may I ask why our son is covered in mud? You know that tarnishes his image in front of others, you know. Sursech laughed shyly at that as the boy of about 4 years old hid behind her legs. Before that a funny voice spoke from the hallway. Sad-faced cheerfully, oh come on, it was just a little game between men, don't worry. When Graphia looked up, she noticed a man who resembled her husband, but instead of his neat and well-groomed appearance, his long hair was tied in a ponytail and his clothes were just as stained as the child's. Graphia, sighs, Zyodicus-sama really thinks that's wise. Look at the state of their outfits. The man saw the boy and chuckled as he lifted the child onto his shoulders, caring very little about his dirty clothes. Zyodicus, amused, oh come on Graphia, don't be so rude, we'll go to the bathtub, relax. Smiling, I don't think Venelana cares about a little dress-up doll, do you? The boy looked curiously at his grandfather while Graphia just sighed. Graphia, serenely, I would ask that you not do that. What would you say if someone teleported in an emergency? The man rolled his eyes and dismissed her. Zyodicus, cheerfully, relax a little. Hurt, wait, you want to take away this poor old soul's time with her only grandson, Graphia-chan. That's very mean and cruel. The maid just sighed when she saw her father-in-law's face, knowing it was a clear act to get her way, knowing she would only fall for it, she gave up. Graphia, sighs, I understand, Zyodicus-sama. Worry about your appearance for the next one. Shall I prepare the bath now? The man smiled as he said goodbye to the woman. Zyodicus, cheerfully, oh come on, you have things to do, don't worry, I'm not senile enough to get lost in my own house. Looking at his head, what do you say, a hot bath? The boy cheered in the head of the man who stopped at a corner. Sursech, blank, it's on the other side. The man simply returned and went down the correct path, much to the amusement of the miners who had been spying on him. Sursech simply chuckled as he watched his wife enter the room. RIAS, curious, you'll stay here, Sursech nii. The man laughed as he settled into a chair at the desk. Sursech, cheerfully, I don't get the chance to see my wife like this every day. The maid blushed at her husband's suggestive wink, he laughed at her serious demeanor, but the blush on her cheeks didn't fool him. Graphia, serenely, Sursech-sama, it's not a matter of great importance, but I think you remember the incident between the former Satan. The man sighed at that memory and the reasons that led him to become the new Satan. He was remembering something when he noticed his sister holding a book to his face. RIAS, cheerfully, look, I found this book. Tell us, you've never given us the details of how the 4 of them became the 4 Satans. The man chuckled, looking at his wife, who sighed as she created a barrier. Graphia, serenely, remember that only 5 people know what happened that day, although, sighs, I think Miss Sona will get that information from Seraphol if she hasn't already. The man chuckled at that as he pulled his wife down to sit beside him and put his arm around her. Sursech, cheerfully, you see, the truth is simple, and something happened in that war. Graphia squirmed a little, but in the end she surrendered, curled up in her husband's warmth, who smiled victoriously. RIAS and Akino laughed as they watched the normally stoic woman succumb to her husband's affections. RIAS, cheerfully, so tell us what happened and about his fight with Tamiel. Sursech nodded somewhat melancholically as he recalled that chaotic time. Sursech, calmly, this is a lesson. Tamiel was a 2-winged principality, a very cunning fallen angel with great persuasive power. RIAS nodded as Akino shuddered. Sursech noticed and smiled at the girl. Graphia spoke for her husband. Graphia, calmly, relax, we fight for equality. I assure you that no one blames you or will blame you for anyone's actions in the past. The black-haired girl nodded meekly. RIAS smiled at her friend, took her hand, and hugged her somewhat tense body. RIAS, cheerfully, it's true, bad things shouldn't necessarily fall on your shoulders. Don't worry. The little girl with black hair smiled at her friend RIAS, who also smiled back, and the two hugged, bringing a big smile to the older man's face and a smaller one to the woman's. Sasuke, cheerfully, well, first of all, a word of advice. Tamil was an infiltrator. When he discovered our blind spots and vulnerabilities, he turned our forces against us. He tried to break down both defenses, aiming to attack simultaneously when we were already weakened. He smiled, touching his wife's hand. Grafia sacrificed herself for the cause. She discovered this, ambushed me, and told me. Thanks to her, we were able to stop the fallen angel. After that, we managed to weaken the old devil faction. We recovered and won that war. RIAS and Aquino watched in amazement as the two great demons embraced each other with nostalgia at their reunion, giving rise to a love that lasts to this day. RIAS looked at her sister-in-law in astonishment, but then she remembered something. RIAS, curious, wait, but if that's true, what happened to him? Sasuke nodded calmly at that. Sasuke, calmly, at that time a new event occurred on the battlefield. Aquino, impatiently, what happened? The man chuckled as he watched the two girls, who were giving him their undivided attention, but he didn't lose his serious expression. Sasuke, serious, Great Red detonated a strange weapon, managing to attract the attention of the powerful dragon, but it went wrong because the power was too much for that man and he entered the dimensional rift, so I think he died. The two girls nodded, impressed by something that had happened in that war. Grafia sighed as she pulled away from her husband and stood in front of the two girls. Grafia, serenely, well, now that that's out of the way, let's begin. I'm fairly certain Sasuke will be happy to go out for ice cream with the two of you who say. That pleased my friends and even Satan. Sasuke, cheerfully, great, that will be good. Kissing his wife's cheek, go ahead, I'll work hard too. The woman smiled, everything was joy in the room until someone opened the door. Zeoticus, cheerfully, ha, and those two thought I'd get lost in my own house. That made a bead of sweat rise on my forehead when I saw the same man still covered in mud. The same man also had his eyes open. Sasuke, blank, I'll leave those two in the bathtub. Mocking, you're not senile yet. The man scoffed but said nothing while the others laughed, and Grafia just shook her head. End of flashback. Naruto, seeing his girlfriend somewhat distracted, touched her shoulder. Naruto, worried, honey, are you okay? What's wrong? The girl shook herself and gave her boyfriend a soft smile. RIAS, sighs, I've felt an energy similar to one of my enemies at home, and if it's the Tamil from my brother's stories, it won't be easy. The blonde man nodded, knowing it wouldn't be pretty. Before they could do anything, the couple heard the queen of the place gasp in surprise. Naruto, worried, is something wrong, Sarah? At that moment, the blonde man and the two redheads noticed the machines that were tirelessly producing puppets, and the men they were looking for were providing the energy. RIAS, serious, I think so, then we should free them, but how? Sarah went ahead of the two of them while I pointed to a spot in the room. Sarah, would be, I can stop the flow of energy from the ley line. Naruto, cheerfully, don't worry, we've got your back. Up ahead. The girl nodded and quickly approached that place while Naruto and RIAS followed behind to cover her. Sarah knelt at the ceiling matrix, and after a few hand positions, she blocked the energy, halting the puppet production line and causing two people to appear on the scene. Sad face cheerful, oh Princess Sarah, I see you're still in good health, but what are you doing here? Naruto took a somewhat mocking step forward towards the man. Naruto, amused, if that chakra is Mukade, I don't see you inflating yourself in this time, do I? The man smiled slightly, though somewhat annoyed by the mockery. Mukade, cheerfully, well, Mukade, I haven't heard that name in so long. Oh well, never mind. But Queen Sarah, may I ask what's going on? Sarah, annoyed, Anro-cousin, you must explain what this means. Tell me about the rumors of armaments and slavery. I'm sure I never approved of such cruel actions. Just then a funny voice boomed, and a black-haired man in a neat business suit was standing atop a tower, looking rather amusing. Tamil, cheerfully, look, those are just 3 brats, that's why they made me get out of bed. When she noticed the children below, her gaze met the serious eyes of the green-eyed redhead, and her arrogant smile began to change into an annoyed expression. RIAS noticed this and took a step forward, serious and imposing, although she felt the man's energy was greater than her own. "RIAS, would be, well, fallen angel, you don't have to hide it anymore." The man breathed a hint of annoyance in his features. "Tamil, calmly, you're annoying, stupid demon. I'll ask you one question. I want you to answer it." RIAS nodded. "What is that damned wretch to you?" RIAS nodded but wouldn't deny any of that. "RIAS, would be, Sirzek Lucifer is my older brother." The man clenched his fists as he leaped towards Mukade, who sneered. "Mukade, serious, stop playing around, that doesn't matter." "Curious, but the power of the ley line, I see it has cut off its power. It hurts that it's already too late." The man smiled like a madman, but when he moved his fingers, he raised an eyebrow when nothing happened, and more of his puppets fell to the floor. Naruto raised an eyebrow at that as he opened his eyes. "Naruto, serious, Sarah, take everyone with you." Handing her his weapon, "Go quickly." Sarah didn't know what to do or why both shinobi seemed more tense than usual. She didn't like it and hurried to free her people. She approached the captured people. "Sad face tired, Princess Sarah, are you the real you?" The young woman nodded as she untied the people. "Naruto, serious, hurry up and take your village back, something here isn't right." RIAS nodded. A lot of energy was building up, it wasn't pretty. Mukade was curious about what was happening when his neck was grabbed from behind and he began to run out of oxygen. He looked behind him and noticed the man who had helped him create his army. Mukade, out of breath, "What, do you think? What are you doing? Idiot." The man behind him chuckled as he threw the man to the ground, placing a foot on his chest to prevent him from moving. Tamil, amused, "I'm not working for you," applying more pressure to his foot. "A mere human will never tell me what to do, let that sink in." Everyone saw the imposing black wings that sprouted from her back, but RIAS opened her eyes. There were 6 black wings. RIAS, shock, impossible. Powers are impossible, you should only have 4 wings. The man laughed while smiling in a crazy way. Tamil, amused, "Ha ha ha, look at that stupid girl, she thought I was a kind being, stepping harder, and this idiot thought I worked for him. How funny, no." RIAS swallowed hard, that strength was unreal. She never thought she'd run into this kind of trouble in this place. Naruto also sensed the presence and great strength, but then he heard a voice in the distance. "Minato, serious, Shuriken clone jutsu." Then a great barrage of kunai was aimed at the man who only mocked him. Tamil, cheerfully, "Ha, this is very pathetic, isn't it? After that, I simply create a magic shield, easily blocking the attack." Choza, serious, "What is that?" "We came across a bunch of puppets, but they all stopped working." "What is that?" Shibi also sent one of his hives to try to drain the energy, but nothing happened. Minato, serious, "What is that?" "The main tower is overflowing with energy." "What happened?" Naruto also nodded. He had sensed it but didn't know what was happening, but it wasn't a problem for his sensory abilities. Then they heard a disgusting creaking sound and a giggle. Tamil, amused, "Well, he died." "Oh, that way he's not in the way anymore, don't you think?" Sarah froze at the sight of the blood dripping from the balcony where they both stood. Sarah, shock, "Why weren't you friends?" That caused the man to then see the corpse at his feet and burst out laughing. Tamil, laughing, "Me haha his friend ha ha ha, or seriously you believe that haha, not even when your stupid mother died I think she was that stupid." Then he had a bloody look on his lips. "Yes, that's why I had to kill her, she knew what this idiot wanted to do, but oh well, it was pathetic. Tell me, what would he ask to do with the 2 of us?" "No." Sarah froze upon hearing that. The prisoners were also indignant, but fear was greater in the face of the imposing presence. Upon seeing that, Naruto took a step forward. His eyes were now red with slit pupils, and his whisker marks were more pronounced. Naruto, serious, "Go, Sarah, take your whole village to a safe place. We'll have them." RIAS nodded seriously at the mocking smile. RIAS, would be, "This will be difficult, now he is stronger." Minato and his team tensed up, it was something they had never seen before. Minato, serious, "Humans with wings, there was never anything related to that." The man chuckled, creating playful spears of light. Tamil, cheerfully, "Oh come on, you're just going to stay like that without saying anything, tell me what that blonde guy will think when he finds out the truth, not your stupid demon truth." Naruto teased her, much to her annoyance, while RIAS looked at the other 3 with some concern. but then she felt a hand on her shoulder and smiled slightly at her boyfriend's calm smile. Naruto, cheerfully, calm down, you bird brain. You're annoying. Seriously, but I don't appreciate you talking about my girlfriend like that. RIAS blushed at that while creating magic circles, much to the man's annoyance. RIAS, would be, it's true, you may be strong, but we will defeat you. Naruto smiled as his eyes turned red, as the fox unconsciously became interested in the battle between the two and the being that seemed to have more strength than normal. Despite being annoyed, the man couldn't help but laugh. Tamil, amused, wait, you, a simple demon and 4 humans. Ha, you're very funny, brat. Minato, Choza, and Shibi watched cautiously, sensing the power of the girl's strange technique, while Minato clearly recognized the Ninetales chakra emanating from the blonde. RIAS, serious, tell me what you're planning. I'm sure you can't manipulate chakra, but the amount of magic is irreal. The man smiled nonchalantly at what she would say. Tamil, amused, well, as the new sovereign, it's good that the subservient dogs know their place, but if my army is here, it's simple, I'll return. The demonic bases are simple if I'm lucky. He stopped and then growled, tell me something, the faction of old Satan no longer exists, right? RIAS tensed up at that thought. If she believed he still had to arrive, they would know how to act. RIAS, serious, if that war is already over and the 4 Satans have been named. The fallen angel nodded while clicking his tongue in annoyance. Naruto, serious, RIAS, do you think we can do something? Something's not right with the main tower. The man high above smiled as he snapped his fingers and a magic teleportation circle appeared, leaving the shinobi petrified. Naruto, serious, he's going after Sarah, let's go. The 3 shinobi nodded as Naruto took out one of his kunai and the pair flashed blue, much to the amazement of the 3, but they soon did the same. When they arrived, the sight was not pretty at all. The tall buildings were falling like child's play, but the one that caught the shinobi's attention was the magic circle at the top of the tallest building. It was a very imposing magic circle, and as the man flew by, he laughed at the expressions of fear on the faces of the city's inhabitants, whom he had tricked. Naruto, serious, any ideas? Creative ideas are welcome. RIAS, despite that, just shook her head. Seriously, her boyfriend couldn't help but say things like that at this moment. Sarah approached the ninjas with something in mind, but she wasn't sure if it was the right thing to do. Sarah, would be, Naruto, the place where the 3 of us are, that's the only place where ley lines can't do any harm. I have to get there. Naruto, serious, alright, go ahead, we'll try to finish off that crow. The queen nodded. With the help of the blade Naruto gave her, she cut off her elegant kimono and the dress she wore underneath for better mobility. Sarah, would be, well, my town is now my priority, shout, everyone forward this way. Despite their fear, the villagers obeyed the order and ran with their newly found relatives towards the safe place in the city. Naruto, curious, the seal, RIAS looked at him, that magic circle feeds on chakra, it's very strange, it's like a summoning seal, don't you think? The man who heard the blonde man chuckled. Tamil, cheerfully, you're kind of clever, kid. Pointing behind him, last time this hit my butt, but the chakra stability of that ley line is the best thing that ever happened to me. Tell me, what do you think these filthy beings will do with it? RIAS opened her eyes. If he did that, there would be no way she could do anything. She knew that the beings at the top were not a game. Naruto, serious, well, you're standing still, I won't do anything. Creating a clone, go ahead. The clone nodded and they both began to create the technique he had worked so hard to create. After a few seconds, the shinobi were impressed when the wind chakra blades came to life. The man high above was impressed, but he remained alert. This didn't sound like a joke from the blonde brat. His eyes widened as the boy vanished before his eyes, and he was shocked when golden chains appeared, capturing him and leaving him at the mercy of those red eyes that seemed to see right through his soul. Naruto, serious, wind-style Raisin Shuriken. Those who had not witnessed the power of that technique were impressed by the powerful explosion and the agonized scream that the fallen angel let out upon being struck. Upon seeing this, RIAS prepared one of her destructive attacks, ready to end this and hopefully no one would get hurt. Naruto, glancing at his girlfriend, noticed the sphere of destruction growing, so even with his chains binding the man, the blue flash. RIAS, serious, Dark Nova. Naruto appeared beside her, holding her hand, which was somewhat damaged by his strongest technique. The fallen angel opened his eyes, but thanks to the restraints he had previously held, he couldn't stabilize his flight before realizing that his 3 left wings had been vaporized by RIAS's attack. The Leaf Shinobi watched, impressed by the young men's skill. "Minato, serious, what should we do? I don't understand how to stop that in the sky." The boys nodded, but before they could say anything, someone spoke behind them. "Sarah, would be, I will seal the power of the ley line." Naruto looked at her with some intrigue. "Naruto, curious, what happened? Shouldn't you be with your village?" The girl smiled at him as she wielded the weapon Naruto had given her. "Sarah, cheerfully, don't worry, I've already got them in a safe place, but now I have to seal the power of the ley line, so are you okay?" Naruto smiled at the queen, which earned him a slap from a somewhat jealous red-headed girlfriend. "RIAS, smiling sweetly, have you stopped flirting?" Naruto rubbed the bump, looking embarrassed, while Sarah watched the couple curiously. Minato, thinking, she looks a lot like Kushina. The blonde man shook off his thoughts when an angry scream was heard from the place where a fallen angel should be dead. Tamil, annoyed, "You damned wretch, I'll kill you." The expression of what was once a young man with a certain charisma and something attractive was now more that of a twisted person with a somewhat gloomy appearance, causing Sarah to become frightened. Sarah, shock, what? But what is that? Tamil, who heard, laughed, extending the only side of his wings that had not yet evaporated. Tamil, cheerfully, "Oh seriously, Sarah doesn't remember Tamil, her loyal servant?" "No, besides, crazy, murderer of her mother." "Nice to meet you." The queen gripped the weapon tightly in her hands, still pained by the man's proud announcement of how he had killed her mother. "Sarah, would be, I won't allow it. My mother may not have succeeded, but I will stop you. The people of Roran will not fall. A tyrant like you will not get away with it." Naruto, cheerfully, "And she's not alone, I understand." The man growled at the blonde brat in response to that offense. Minato, serious, take Queen Sarah to end this. Once we're finished, we'll seal the ley line. Hopefully, you'll be able to return to your own time. Naruto nodded, looking at RIAS, who didn't want to leave. Naruto, cheerfully, don't worry, if what's happening is in our timeline, none of the 3 of them would die. I trust them, and if they trust us with the seal, let's not betray that trust. RIAS saw Naruto and the man who looked like him smiling and felt a surge of confidence. RIAS, cheerfully, if they're trusting in our ability to do that, then fine, we'll get there. The blonde man smiled at his partner and nodded to the 3 adults in front of them. Naruto, cheerfully, then let's go. Catch up soon. The blonde man nodded with a proud smile on his face. Minato, cheerfully, yes, don't worry, we'll be there soon. The trio of male shinobi stood protectively, still somewhat shaken by the man's appearance. Choza, serious, go and buy some time. Shibi launched a large number of insects to try to restrain the fallen one, which irritated him since he noticed how the 3 left. The worst part was that he could no longer fly without half of his wings. With Naruto and his group, the blonde boy and the 2 girls arrived at a special place, noticing the similarity to the place where they were teleported, but it was RIAS who revealed it. RIAS, serious, so this is where the 4th Hokage's seal is, isn't it? Naruto felt himself drawing the kunai. Naruto, calmly, if we go, let's buy some time. This bridge is the only way to get there, and that idiot can't fly. We have a bit of an advantage. Sarah nodded as she ran towards the ley line, ready to seal the power of that power. RIAS was somewhat worried. She knew that those fallen angels were not naive and she knew that nothing would stop her from fulfilling her mission. Sarah had arrived at the location. She was about to perform the seal, she was already in position. As she placed her hands on the seal, before she could know what was happening, a yellow flash took her in its arms. It returned to Naruto and RIAS. The duo were about to speak, but a barrage of light spears struck them. RIAS created a magic shield while Naruto was trying to think what to do. That was all he could do, because before he knew what had happened, a strange portal appeared, followed by the man's maniacal laughter. Tamil, madly, if now with the great red one here I will be invincible. Naruto smiled discreetly, so when he saw the man approach the portal, the blonde boy looked at his father. Naruto, cheerfully, the Rasengan, if we can make one with the maximum amount of chakra. The blond man saw his future son and then noticed the man laughing, flying with great difficulty, making a great effort not to fall and struggling to rise with only half of his wings. Minato, serious, I understand, I'll help you, but I still don't understand what you're planning. RIAS nodded, unaware of what her partner and father would do. Minato was also curious, but he would trust the boy. Naruto extended his hand as Minato did the same, both creating a Rasengan. As it expanded, the older blonde didn't know what he was doing, but suddenly wind blades appeared. Minato was surprised, a trickle of sweat forming on his brow from the force. Naruto, serious, okay, just one more thing. Looking at RIAS, honey, what we tried, you have to try. We don't have time to perfect it. Come on. Smiling, I trust you. RIAS shuddered, feeling uneasy. She noticed the smile on her partner's face. She was conflicted about what to do. The redhead noticed the other blonde, who seemed confused but also smiled at her. Minato, cheerfully, if he trusts you, I will too. Smiling, if you make him happy, I'm fine and I give you my trust. The two blondes felt confident, which reaffirmed their confidence. Placing their hands near the technique, Minato was surprised by the magic circle and how the green sphere changed to a reddish-black. The girl kept her eyes on the fallen angel who seemed amused. Tamil, amused, you think I'll let myself get hit? You must be an idiot. Naruto smiled as, to the man's disbelief, he threw a golden chain and Sarah finished making the hand seals. Sarah, would-be, seal line read your power is no longer required. I appreciate the support but Roran will prosper in your absence, thank you. The fallen angel watched in annoyance as the power faded. The portal shook slightly, the magical energy was becoming unstable since it was without chakra support, and the portal was accumulating a lot of energy. Naruto, serious, now RIAS throw it. The redhead nodded, sending the powerful sphere towards the man. The man made a little effort to dodge the attack. Tamil, amused, ha, I told you, you must be an idiot if I'd let that thing even touch me. Minato and RIAS watched this with fear, remaining on guard as the man acted, but then they noticed a hand on their shoulders. Naruto, serious, what are you doing? Run. The duo wanted to say something, but then they noticed the portal react violently, with lightning and tornadoes erupting from it. The fallen angel opened his mouth, attempting to rise, but it was too late. A lightning bolt struck his body, and a tornado engulfed him. His lack of energy and the loss of his wings prevented him from escaping. He could only scream. Meanwhile, Naruto, near Sarah, created a dome with his chains to shield him from the imminent impact. Naruto, joyfully, we did it. Minato smiled at RIAS, who hugged Naruto, kissing her partner in a kiss that was returned. Sarah sighed but unconsciously hugged Naruto as the floor shook from a powerful impact caused by the fallen one's failed technique. RIAS punched Naruto in the side, making the older blonde laugh. Usually he was on the other side of those punches. Minato raised an eyebrow when Naruto ignored the blow to his sides, wearing a look of glee as if he had an idea. Naruto, cheerfully, great Rasen Shuriken of destruction. Doesn't that sound awesome? What are you saying? RIAS hit her boyfriend's head again with a vein in her forehead. RIAS, annoyed, seriously, I don't understand how you come up with such stupid names. Minato shuddered at that. Minato, thinking, stupid, so that's how it feels to me. I thought it was great. The blonde boy was abruptly pulled from his thoughts when the section of the bridge they were standing on broke. Naruto was about to do something to get out of this when a voice echoed through the air. Yamato, serious, four-pillar wood style. The four were tied together with wooden logs, which put them to safety. At that moment, the shinobi noticed a man with a wooden arm and a child under his shoulder. Naruto, cheerfully, good, Captain Yamato is okay, that's good. Yamato sighed upon seeing the two boys alright. Minato was also relieved to see his student safe. Minato, cheerfully, well Kakashi, I see you're alright. You were able to complete your mission. Kakashi, arrogantly, no problem, everyone's fine, pointing at Yamato, I even had time to save this leaf shinobi who was standing outside the entrance gate, frozen solid and not caring about anything. Yamato hit the boy on the head, who glared at him. Yamato, arrogantly, if you're always bothering me, I think you owe me one. At that moment, the three shinobi began to glow, to everyone's amazement. Minato, cheerfully, I see that it worked. With that, we'll seal the ley line. Now you'll return to your timeline. RIAS noticed her partner was worried, and he was also worried. He already knew the truth but knew beforehand that it would continue. Naruto, with a gentle smile, you should erase our memories too, shouldn't you? The man also smiled gently at that, nodding. Minato, calmly, if it's for the best, we can't let future events be known, so I also deleted mine and my team's. The younger blonde boy nodded, so he gave RIAS a little hug, who was offering her support. Naruto, sighs, before anything else, just a piece of advice. The man was about to interrupt, but Naruto was faster. Avoid at all costs being on the Kyuubi's blacklist. The blonde man shuddered at that while smiling. Minato, cheerfully, if I ever have a child, I'd love for him to be like you. Looking at RIAS, and I trust you, I'm sure you'll take care of him, I'm sure you'll be happy. The couple blushed but smiled, RIAS grateful to be accepted by the man who was surely her boyfriend's father. Before leaving, Sarah approached with Naruto's blade. Sarah, cheerfully, thank you. I'm sorry you can't stay, but now I understand that doesn't define my people. I will follow my mother's wishes. I promise that Roran will prosper. I promise. Naruto and RIAS smiled at him as the three of them rose into the air, blinded by a powerful light. Current time. Sakura and Sai returned to the spot where the light was dimming. When they arrived, they saw Naruto, RIAS, and Yamato on the ground, slowly getting up. Naruto, rubbing his head, what happened? And Mukade, Yamato, in pain, I don't know, something new happened, how long have we been gone? RIAS only got up with Naruto's help, rubbing her head before saying anything. A voice called them. Sad face curious, so it's you, I see what I felt was right. Naruto, curious, excuse me, but what happened? The girl smiled, taking out a dagger while unconsciously reaching for its sheath, surprised to find nothing there, it's a leaf chakra dagger. The girl smiled as she put it back in her bag. Sad face cheerfully, yes, I inherited from my mother the ability to sense the ley line, although only thanks to that tool. Naruto nodded as the couple, not knowing why, simply smiled unconsciously, clasping their hands and smiling at each other. Naruto, cheerfully, I'm glad, thank you for that, and I hope everything is alright. Sad face cheerfully, yes, since I noticed the ley line isn't right, I'll leave. Thanks. Yamato, calmly, well, since there's no sign of Mukade and the seal is fine, let's hope nothing goes wrong here. The boys nodded and began walking towards the village. Naruto hugged RIAS around the waist. The redhead felt safe and comfortable, she simply snuggled into her partner, both enjoying the comfort and security of their companionship, although Sakura found it somewhat annoying to see how those two expressed affection for each other. Yamato and Sai simply walked towards the village to give their report. End of chapter. Part 43. Rain Village. The tall buildings were visible as the sound of rain echoed through the area. In a small lake, two frog eyes emerged from the water. Seeing that the area was clear, one came out of the water and suddenly its mouth opened unnaturally, and an arm emerged from its mouth. And Jiraiya emerged from the toad. Jiraiya, cheerfully, thank you for that, I'll be fine and I'll stay here, don't worry, you can go. The toad nodded and went back into the water, disappearing over the horizon. Jiraiya simply smiled as he took a rain cloak and walked through the rain towards the city, unaware of something happening in the distance. On the tallest building in the city, two people watched the rain with impassive faces. Conan, calmly, so pain, what will we do? Disturbing the rain shows that person's ability. The orange-haired man stood in the rain, his face dead and emotionless, as he spoke. Pain, calmly, this is war, Conan. Death is the only thing at this moment. You cannot enter these lands without expecting some consequence. Conan nodded. The woman created paper wings and took flight. After rising, the woman divided into many sheets of paper thanks to her chakra control. All the sheets began to form many butterflies that flew in a direction to locate the intruder. Streets of the village of the rain. Jiraiya walked calmly. The man arrived at a place of company. He smiled, finally finding a place of fun. Without thinking much, he went inside. Upon entering, he noticed several well-endowed women in short dresses serving tables. The man lustfully observed them, but a voice caught the Sanin's attention. Lady, mischievously, Era, handsome gentleman, tell me, what is your preference? Is any of our ladies to your liking? The Sannin smiled as he walked towards a table. The man was leering at the women, but his gaze was interrupted when a blonde woman with large breasts and a polite smile caught his attention. Leaf Village. Naruto was with RIAS, they were both in the living room of their house. The couple had obtained 2 days off for their recent mission, and at this moment Naruto was watching RIAS, who was looking at some things on her coffee table. Naruto, curious, so this is a cell phone, right? The redhead nodded, leaning happily against Naruto as she looked at some things in her world. RIAS, cheerfully, yes, look, I have some pictures of my world, do you want to see them? Naruto nodded. The two of them huddled together, looking at the photos. RIAS smiled nostalgically, looking at more recent photos since it was a relatively new phone, but there were many things. The blonde man hugged his partner, who seemed happy with the memories but also somewhat sad because everything she knew was gone. Naruto, calmly, so that's your family. RIAS nodded, curled up at his side. RIAS, calmly, the man is my father, Zeoticus. The brunette woman is my mother, Benelana. Pointing to the couple on her right, he is my older brother, Surzex, and his wife is Graphia. And the boy is my nephew, Militia. Naruto gently rubbed her back, the redhead appreciated it, happy to have someone like Naruto by her side. Naruto, cheerfully, what do you say we go for a walk? I think you wanted something, didn't you? RIAS saw her cell phone, an old one she had lost so long ago, and nodded. RIAS, cheerfully, yes, it's a very useful device, I'm sure the village can benefit from it, as well as from advancements like the internet and various other things we could do to benefit the village, as you mentioned. Naruto, cheerfully, sure, let's go. We could talk to Grandma, it'll definitely be more helpful if she helps. The couple said nothing more. Both were dressed more comfortably, as they weren't on a mission. Naruto wore orange pants with a black t-shirt and his ninja sandals. RIAS, for her part, also wore black pants with a red Chinese shirt and her ninja sandals. The couple went for a walk, holding hands. The blonde noticed that after the rumors that he had managed to undo the Hyuga clan seal and his constant efforts with S-rank criminals, people's opinions of him had changed considerably. RIAS, for her part, was happy. She didn't pay much attention to the stares at her body, in her mind, only a man had the right to see and appreciate her figure, whether clothed or naked. Naruto, cheerfully, so what do you say? Do you think we can do something in this time? RIAS smiled happily, she hoped she could do something to get internet and a cell phone. She would be grateful for that. The duo walked along peacefully when they bumped into someone who clearly didn't want to run into them. RIAS, curious, Kurenai-san, right? The jounin said nothing as she passed by, but a voice did catch her attention. Sad face shyly, oh Naruto-kun, RIAS-san, how are you? Naruto, cheerfully, oh Hinata, a mission. Kurenai tensed at the sound of her student's voice before she could greet her, the girl walked past her, completely ignoring her existence. Hinata, shyly, something like that. Shino and I have to report to Tsunade-sama. Smiling, I haven't thanked you yet for removing the seal on the caged bird. Brother Niji seems more relaxed, and now everything feels like a real family. Naruto, cheerfully, it's okay, you know I don't like that. Now it's your turn as the future clan head. Hinata smiled, that's why she had already partly accepted that she had lost Naruto. The blonde young man kept his distance, and RIAS was also alert, even though she had a smile on her face. She hugged Naruto's arm, marking her territory a little over her boyfriend. RIAS, cheerfully, yes, well, we're going to see Tsunade-sama too. We have something to tell her. Come on, what do you say? Do you want company? Hinata, cheerfully, oh yes, thank you very much, I enjoy the company. Sarcastically, after all, when the people you trust with your life, the ones you can tell your dreams to and think support you wholeheartedly, betray you and stab you in the back, forcing you to live with someone you don't love. The girl would have continued with her snarky attitude, but Naruto put a hand on her shoulder. Naruto, calmly, Hinata, leave him alone. I'm sorry things ended badly for us, but it's better to leave it alone. Please don't hurt yourself anymore. RIAS also noticed how the girl seemed angry and sad, but she never seemed to notice the woman who heard that. The woman bit her lower lip, trying not to cry at the harsh words of the woman with pearl eyes. She decided it was best to walk away before doing anything and before the girl left something to further hurt the pregnant woman in front of them. "RIAS, calmly, it's best to go to Tsunade-sama's office. They might be waiting for you, or they might have already left. It might be important." Hinata seemed to rouse her from her inner rage. She shook herself and nodded, saying nothing more as she began walking towards the Hokage tower without giving a second glance to the woman who rubbed her stomach and clenched her fists tightly. But she never dared to raise her eyes and see her former student or the couple watching her from a distance. Kurenai simply wiped away a single tear from the corner of her eye and began walking towards her prenatal appointment. Naruto and RIAS, seeing this, didn't know what to say, and if the woman seemed to take their words well, they began a light jog to catch up with the girl who had already gone a long way. Reaching Hinata in a short time, the three of them walked in a somewhat awkward silence, but no one dared to say anything. Hokage Tower. Tsunade wore a serene smile on her face. By now, Danzo's former subordinates had managed to adapt. Apparently, the old man's treatment of her was awful, none of them had any true loyalty towards him. Shizun, cheerfully, thanks to the raid and Danzo's death, our military strength has increased, and some of the root Umbu's training methods helped the Umbu, resulting in more favorable outcomes. Tsunade smiled as she looked at the documents, noting how the efficiency of Umbu missions had increased. Tsunade, cheerfully, it's true, I hate to admit it, but that old man's experience is important and shouldn't be underestimated. It was a shame that that bag of excrement became senile. The women dropped the subject when Shino entered the office for her assignment for the day. After greeting each other, the three waited silently for the other members. They didn't have to wait long, as Shikamaru and Ino entered the room, and not long after, Hinata, Naruto, and RIAS joined them, sitting on the sofa after greeting everyone present. Tsunade raised an eyebrow when she saw Naruto and RIAS in her office. She shook herself, she had a few things to say. Tsunade, serenely, good, now that you're here. Shikamaru, your team must go to the land of wind. Kazekage Dano sent a team led by Kenkuro regarding some Akatsuki matters. You must take that into account, that's why 2 groups are going together with 2 trackers each, and your group in case of any anomalies. Good luck. Shikamaru nodded, though Ino laughed, hitting her friend on the back. Ino, amused, come on, lazybones, just because your girlfriend isn't on this mission doesn't mean you should be so grumpy. Nara blushed but scoffed. Shika, sighs, troublesome blonde, but fine, we'll leave right now. The blonde Senju nodded as Ino laughed at Shikamaru. Without another word, the group left, they had documents too important to let go. The blonde raised an eyebrow when she saw the couple get up. Tsunade, curious, so I thought I'd see you in 2 days for some assignment. RIAS, cheerfully, well, I think that because of what's happened we haven't had much time, but I think I know some things that can help the village. That impressed the women in the room. The blonde saw Naruto, who understood and created a barrier of silence. Naruto, happily, done. And believe me, those things are great. Thanks to RIAS's foundation, I created the seal. Tsunade raised an eyebrow at that, noticing the paper on her desk. Tsunade, curious, so, are you going to explain or what? RIAS smiled and nodded. She explained what the internet was and its uses, as well as its ability to unite the world. After hearing the advantages and disadvantages, the blonde smiled. Tsunade, cheerfully, so you needed something. Pulling out a sheet of paper, go to the Technology Development Unit. I'm sure someone there can help. RIAS smiled because she knew it wouldn't be very useful at first, but she did miss her phone in a way. Naruto, cheerfully, alright then, we'll go to that place. If we manage to do anything, you'll be the first to know. The blonde nodded happily, happy to be able to help with those things that girl could help with in the long run. After saying goodbye, the couple went to the place where RIAS could give her ideas for improving communication. Tsunade, cheerfully, so Shizun, maybe those ideas. The brunette woman also read the various papers that RIAS had left to see. Shizun, cheerfully, that would be great. If we manage to do something and the villages unite, it would be a huge help. If we manage to share these things, the economy will surely boom. Naruto will help. Tsunade smiled gently upon hearing that. Tsunade, smiling, It's true, Naruto makes RIAS stay comfortable and helps her see this village as her home. He never makes her forget her roots, he provides a balance in that regard, ensuring she doesn't forget the good or the bad. He never asked her to change, he accepted her as RIAS. He never even looked at her last name or anything else, which she seemed to appreciate. She knew everything. I know Naruto didn't hold anything back, and yet nothing changed. She accepted him. Don't you think they make a lovely couple? Both women chuckled as they watched the couple chatting and laughing in the streets, walking among the people with Naruto hugging RIAS, whose head rested comfortably beside him, and he didn't seem to mind. Without further ado, the two women moved away from the window to continue with their work. Leaf Village Development Center. Upon arriving at a building in the center of the village, the two presented the sheet of paper. They both went to a secluded place where there were electrical parts and cables lying on the floor. They also saw many people working on computers, although RIAS noticed that they weren't as advanced as those in her world. They looked around when a female voice caught their attention. Sad face curious, what are you doing here? Naruto, cheerfully, oh, Grandma Tsunade gave us this, offering Tsunade's letter. We've come to give some ideas, and we want ideas for placing seals in the village. The woman took the papers, her eyes widened at the idea. It was very advanced, but the components specified on those papers were things that could be replicated. She was also surprised by this, which is why the creation of those devices would take so long. Sad face cheerfully, these are interesting ideas. If we combine Naruto-kun's seals with RIAS-chan's ideas, we'll surely make a revolution in this village. I'm Sachiko, the advisor for this unit. We're sure to make progress if you leave us the blueprints. We'll call you in a few days when the bases are ready. RIAS, cheerfully, great, thanks for that. Sachiko, cheerfully, don't worry about it. Handing RIAS a sheet of paper, go to the Great Library, they'll surely want to gather the information to upload it. Naruto, cheerfully, I understand then, thank you very much, we'll work on our part too. After that, the excited girl went out to a place to begin the new project. RIAS, cheerfully, well, if it can be done, that would be great, and communication will improve, and you'll surely be able to form an alliance, and the information will be more secure. Naruto, expressionless, you want to convince someone to create anime here, right? The redhead saw her boyfriend in shock. RIAS, shocked, wait, how does it taste? Fake coughing, I don't know what you mean by that. Naruto just chuckled as he kissed his girlfriend. Naruto, cheerfully, relax, but, pulling out a seal, look, thanks to everyone who supported me, I was able to copy all your anime, manga, and movies onto a seal. That excited RIAS, who happily took the stamp while hugging and kissing her boyfriend. RIAS, happily, that's great. Now I don't have to worry about them getting damaged or scratched. Thanks, love. The blonde man simply smiled as they walked through the quiet streets of the village, neither of them paying attention to the two people who were watching the couple from afar. Kurenai, annoyed, they look happy and you should never have interfered in that relationship. Beside him, a young man with brown hair and marks on his cheeks was also annoyed. Kiba, serious, Hinata didn't deserve Naruto. She deserves to be happy, and he wasn't the right one for her. She needs to get that through her head. Kurenai felt a chill upon hearing the coldness in those words. Kurenai, sighs, it's best to let her think. I'm sure she'll reconsider. What if? Kiba, annoyed, I'm a chunin, sensei. I'll never study with a bunch of 5-year-old brats for a right I've already earned. The woman shuddered at the boy's attitude. She had only known him for a short time since the boy's mother was still angry with her for supporting the idea to rescue Hinata from Uzumaki, but she never thought that the boy had such an obsession and those eyes full of anger and rage when he saw the blonde boy's happiness. Kurenai, shuddering, well, I'll go. Sakura-chan sent me some exercises for the baby's proper growth. I'll be going. The woman noticed the boy nodding distractedly, so she took advantage of the moment and went home. Kiba just clenched his fists and went home. He still had things to do, and he knew that if his mother found out he was seeing Kurenai or wasting time, it wouldn't be pretty. Village of the Waves. Suigetsu whistled in awe upon seeing the bridge in front of him. Suigetsu, amused, look at that, it's definitely big, don't you think? Sasuke said nothing as he walked through the bridge entrance. Sasuke, calmly, come on, the graves of those two are around here. The white-haired boy laughed at Sasuke's expression. Suigetsu, amused, look at that, a bridge with his name on it, although Naruto isn't the one who kicked your butt ha. The Uchiha just huffed, though he was annoyed at the memory of that and how the blonde had humiliated him at one of his former mentor's bases. Sasuke, calmly, move it, will you? We have things to do. The boy next to him sneered as he followed Sasuke with his hands on his head and a mocking smile. Sasuke noticed this but didn't pay it any mind. After about 20 minutes of walking, Suigetsu was annoyed. Suigetsu, annoyed, and tell me, didn't your team leave the sword here, you idiot? Sasuke scoffed, but then someone spoke up. Sad face curious, it's best if you leave. If anyone from Tower 3 sees you here, you'll be in trouble. It's said that the leader of that house killed the mist demon Zabuza, and his henchman is a very strong man. He arrived 2 weeks ago and wants something from the village. It's dangerous. You'd better leave. Sasuke, seeing the frightened man, simply turned away. Suigetsu, curiously pointing at a castle, are you too scared to go and face him? Sasuke, calmly, he said Building 3, that's the daimyo's palace, idiot. Suigetsu realized that was true and got angry with Sasuke for it. Building 3. Inside the building, a man was found sitting in an elegant chair, watching a man who was kneeling and very frightened. Sad face serious, well, I can't wait until tomorrow. I already gave you a week. I consider myself a very generous man, you know. The man knelt down, his head bowed in fear, and he became even more frightened when he saw how a large sword was raised and held in front of him with a dull thud. Sad face calmly, so boss, what do we do with this nuisance? The man smiled, but before he could say anything, a cheerful voice echoed from the stairs. Sad face cheerfully, oh look, here's my awesome sword. Serious, idiot, who gave you permission to enter here? Mr. Shigansana does not accept. I didn't finish because suddenly he was grabbed by the neck and slammed against the wall, leaving him unconscious. Suigetsu, cheerfully, hello, I'm sorry about that, but you have my sword there. You know, usually I'd just take it and leave, but I'm curious to know how someone was able to defeat Lord Zabuza. The man with the sword sweated a little, but gripped the sword tightly and with a great effort lunged at an amused Suigetsu. The kneeling man panicked as he watched the swordsman slice the boy in half and looked at him, smiling. Shigansana, cheerfully, so, do you plan to pay or? At that moment, someone grabbed the sword's hilt and with a swift movement slammed the man against the wall. His head was just centimeters away from being severed by the sword's crescent-shaped blade, and he noticed his subordinate in the other hole of the sword. Suigetsu, amused, you know, with that pathetic strength, I don't think you did anything to Mr. Zabuza. The man, seeing himself in that pathetic situation, was crying and bleeding from the blow he had received. Shigansana, crying, I'm sorry, I didn't think about the consequences of that, but I see that you are a friend of a former wielder of this sword, but I am not. Sad face calmly, I'm done downstairs, do you want to hurry up? We still have a long way to go. Shiganshina, seriously pointing at Sasuke, he and his team were the ones who killed Zabuza. Suigetsu, cheerfully, ha, you fool, I know that already. Extending his arm and easily raising his sword, then, Sasuke, I didn't like this castle, and this sword needs to be tested. Sasuke, calmly, was that man already leaving this country, or am I mistaken? The man, seeing the red eyes and the sword on the other boy's shoulder, nodded frantically while crying. Shigansana, crying, if I leave, I'll leave, I'm not finished. Suigetsu threw him out the window. Suigetsu, amused, idiot, I'm already bored. Looking at Sasuke, what do we do now? I'm already complete. Sasuke, calmly, there are 2 people I need for the group. Let's go to the southeast base, the one near the land of bears. Suigetsu shrugged, placed the giant man's head on the floor, which he had previously knocked out, and put his sword on his shoulder. Suigetsu, amused, how weak. Then he noticed the man, still frightened, you'd better go home. I'm sure these useless people won't bother you anymore. The man nodded and quickly left the room. He went downstairs very fast, ignoring the bodies he wanted to believe were lying unconscious on the floor. Sasuke and Suigetsu left shortly after. After searching the house a bit, they took the money they found. Suigetsu also took the opportunity to get a good supply of water for the journey. Sasuke, calmly, let's go. After saying that, the once imposing building of the bandits who tried to take over a town again exploded, erasing all evidence of the two teenagers who were there as they disappeared into the thick wooded areas of the region. Rain Village. An attractive woman was seen. She had blonde hair and a tan. She was holding a bottle of liquor and smiling sweetly at a white-haired man. Sad-faced cheerfully, it was a surprise that she decided I should be the one to serve her. It's an honor, after all, not many foreigners spend the day in these parts. The man laughed heartily at that as he held out his plate, and the woman quickly poured the liquor. Jiraiya, cheerfully, well, what can I say? You're very beautiful. Discreetly looking at the woman's breasts, also, I don't think I ever asked your name. Sad-faced cheerfully, oh, I'm sorry, my name is Tsunade, sir. Jiraiya smiled as he continued drinking. Jiraiya, cheerfully, well, he's not how I remember him. I see that old Hanzo has mellowed out. That changed the mood, the woman's gaze darkened, and the Sannin noticed how some were discreetly watching him. Tsunade, would be, sir, I ask for discretion regarding this matter. That name is a sin in the village. Ever since God came to power, she and our angel have been good. They have controlled the village since that man died. Jiraiya nodded mentally while smiling. Jiraiya, cheerfully, oh, I'm so sorry, it's just that I haven't been here in a long time. Come on. Showing his plate, another round. The woman nodded and poured more liquor into the white-haired man's saucer. Jiraiya, having partially understood what was happening, went out into the streets. The man staggered slightly upon entering an alley. The man immediately recovered and reached a secluded spot, making some hand seals. Jiraiya, serious, come out Geritora. After that, a black toad with orange stripes came out of Jiraiya's mouth. Geritora, serious, oh Jiraiya, what happened? Don't you think it's too early to release the seal? The wise toad just smiled as he nodded. Jiraiya, cheerfully, well, I think I'll have a tough fight. It's for the best since the boy needs it, don't you think? The toad noticed that the man wanted to open the parchment, but he prevented him from doing so. Geritora, serious, no, Jiraiya, I know the boy is no longer an inexperienced brat, but do you think that's wise? Jiraiya chuckled as he opened the scroll, his fingers glowing blue. Jiraiya, calmly, Minato entrusted me with this seal. The jutsu here is very important. You know why he left this scroll. We will respect his last wish. Geritora clicked his tongue at that, but said nothing more. That's what I thought. 5 trigrams seal, release. The toad noticed a new matrix appear in space. Geritora, serious, then there's no other way. Jiraiya just smiled calmly at that. Jiraiya, calmly, no, this won't be easy. Go to the mountain with Pa, he will give the next order. It's in your hands. The toad nodded solemnly and vanished. After the toad left, the man turned around and never noticed a paper butterfly flying away towards the enormous building in the distance. With Jiraiya, the man walked back through the shopping plaza, strolling calmly until a pleasant smell caught his attention. Looking ahead, he smiled as an elderly woman took some buns out of a pot. Jiraiya, cheerfully, oh, that smells wonderful. Lady, smiling, or they are the house specialty, some pork buns, it's a recipe from my grandmother, it goes back many generations. Jiraiya smiled as he took one and bit into it, thoroughly enjoying it. Jiraiya, cheerfully, oh, it certainly tastes delicious. I'm a writer, and I'm impressed because it's something I haven't tasted before. The woman smiled brightly, even more so when the man took out a small notebook and wrote some things down. Lady, cheerfully, wow, that's interesting, nothing like this has ever happened to me before. Jiraiya, cheerfully, well, I'm a wandering man, I try food everywhere, but, noticing a paper angel, it's kind of interesting. You know, when I arrived a while back, Hanzo was a nightmare, wasn't he? The man stopped when the woman saw him looking serious, and the other passers-by were giving the man strange looks. Lady, it would be, sir, it's best you don't say that name, pointing at the hanging origami, since Lord Pain and our angel came to power, the rain hasn't stopped, whispering, she hears everything, and the angel watches over us and protects us. Jiraiya nodded in agreement. Out of the corner of his eye, he noticed 2 shinobi, one of them talking to the woman who was with them. Jiraiya, cheerfully, I understand, thank you very much for the food. Taking out the money, good luck. Without further ado, The man paid for his meal and followed the two men who were clearly shinobi from this village. Wink with a frown cheerfully, well, how about we look for a bar? This mission was long. The other man smiled, giving his approval. Jiraiya, cheerful, good, I know what to do. Without further ado, the Sannin ran off in a somewhat distant direction. Amigakure Tower. The orange-haired man noticed the large quantities of paper butterflies arriving. He waited a few seconds when Conan's figure formed. Pain, serious, so you know who's responsible. Conan, serenely, if it's Jiraiya-sensei, it's not normal. Pain, calmly, yes, it's normal. He's very skilled, but it's not a problem. He's an enemy now, he's a threat to our plans. Conan, would be, so what are your orders? Pain, calmly, Sensei's intentions are to end our plans. At this point, only death is our option in this fight. Conan did not protest that order, she simply separated into sheets of paper, each forming a small paper airplane, and they flew directly to the indicated location. Pain noticed this and simply walked towards the interior of the tower. When he reached the end of the corridor, he opened the door. Upon entering, he saw 5 people lying on some kind of machine to keep them alive. Pain, calmly, it's time. Without this, I'll never win against that man. As they made a few hand gestures, the machines raised some hatches, and the 5 people lying down opened their eyes. The man nodded as the other 5 looked ahead, and a purple glow appeared in their eyes. After that, the Rinnegan shone in everyone's eyes. With Jiraiya. In one part of the rain village, a small cabin stood somewhat apart. 2 men approached the place. Sad face cheerful, look how lucky, it's a great opening, let's go. Sad face cheerfully, okay, let's see what this new place is like. As they entered, the 2 noticed a white-haired man. They looked around and, noticing that no one else was there, they saw the bartender smiling. Before they could do anything, the door behind them slammed shut. A man quickly pulled out a kunai and the bartender exploded in smoke, revealing Jiraiya. Jiraiya, serious, no, they won't escape. The wise toad easily immobilized one of them while the other tried to open the door, but suddenly it transformed into a kind of flesh that imprisoned his hand. Sad face shock, but what is this? Jiraiya, cheerfully, it's simple, it's a toad's stomach. Now you'll tell me everything I want to know. The 2 men watched in fear, as they were unable to move at all when leaning against the fleshy walls. Outside of that place the cabin began to be chosen and instead of the simple-looking cabin a small toad appeared. After croaking it submerged itself in a puddle, disappearing into a small stream, but never noticed the paper airplane that followed the trail of the small frog. End of chapter. Part 44. Unknown location. Sasuke and Suigetsu arrived at a remote place. The raven-haired boy entered a cave, paying little attention to the noises in the distance. Before he could advance, a female figure stood in front of them, blocking their path. Sad face would be, what are you doing here? I haven't received any reports of anyone coming, nor has anyone from headquarters. It's been difficult to understand what's happening. Sasuke, seeing better as the woman moved closer to the light, nodded to himself. Sasuke, calmly, Karen, I really thought it would take me longer to try and find you. Upon closer inspection, Suigetsu spotted a somewhat tall woman with red hair and glasses. She wore a purple shirt that revealed part of her stomach, dark shorts, long socks, and her typical ninja sandals. Karen, curious, you're Sasuke, right? What brings you here? I'm busy with some things, be quick. Sasuke nodded as he looked at her. Sasuke, serious, I know he sent you to watch that place. In 2 days I want you to take me to see Hyuga. The girl paled and unconsciously took a step back. Karen, pale, well, I'll try to do that, but if Lord Orochimaru finds out I'm Sasuke, serious, Orochimaru is dead. Karen, that's not a problem. Take what you need. We must leave as soon as possible. The redhead nodded as she walked toward the large control room. Karen, would be, but I can't just leave like this, what else do you want me to do about this? It's all under my control. Sasuke, calmly, let's go to the control room, we're not going to tell them what to do. Karen nodded as she pointed to the long hallway in front of them. Karen, sighs, okay, so it's the big door at the end then. Suigetsu scoffed at that as he walked past the pointed spot. Suigetsu, sighs, how annoying, so much trouble, what a drag. I should have left earlier. Sasuke was about to follow Suigetsu when he was pulled into a nearby room and Karen dragged him along until they were both sitting on a sofa in the room. Karen, cheerfully, Sasuke-kun, I don't care about this or what we'll do with them, but you say you want a group. Let's leave that idiot here. And why go see that guy from the North Guard? We'd be an unstoppable group, just the two of us. Sasuke sighed at that. Sasuke, serious, I formed this group for a reason. Besides, the main thing is to go and find someone. It's very difficult to find them, that's why I need a censor. You're the only one who came to mind since I thought of this idea. Karen blushed and squealed in a fan-like manner as she thought. Karen, thinking, he always thought about me during this time. Sasuke didn't attach much importance to this as he pressed a button and all the cells began to open. Sasuke, calmly, if this was holding you back, I think it's no longer an obstacle for us, right? Karen nodded, blushing. Just then, the sound of slashing and blows reached her ears. She looked at the screen where Suigetsu was cutting down all the monsters that stood in front of him, while in another corridor, normal people and some who didn't seem to have anything wrong with them were running terrified towards the source of light. Sasuke, calmly, this will take some time. Karen smiled and settled down next to Sasuke, resting her head on his shoulder. He didn't seem to mind much as he thought about his next move in his hunt for Itachi. 2 hours later, Karen walked behind Sasuke, who said nothing, and a cheerful Suigetsu. Suigetsu, cheerfully, did you see that? Those beings were nothing to my sword, how useless they were. Karen, annoyed, I'd prefer you had been eaten, that way it would be better if it was just me and Sasuke-kun. Suigetsu, cheerfully, speak for yourself. I don't give a damn about this, but if we manage to find who he's looking for, I might have an interesting fight. Karen, annoyed, I hope he kills you, it'll be better that way. Sasuke, serious, come on, we need to hurry. The faster we find him, the more clues we'll find about Akatsuki. Karen froze at that. Karen, shock, wait, you're talking about that criminal organization that Snake was affiliated with before someone almost killed him? Upon hearing that, Sasuke clenched his fist, knowing who had done it. Sasuke, serious, let's hurry because news spreads fast and I don't want to attract attention from that place. None of them said anything more and they began their journey back to the base to see their last member. Leaf Village. Naruto and RIAS were at home, they both had some things to do since they had both been promoted. Naruto, cheerfully, well, it's best to see what the old woman needs. RIAS sighed at that. RIAS, sighs, I seriously think you should have more respect for Lady Tsunade. She's the leader, don't you think? Naruto laughed at that as he carried the travel suitcase while hugging his girlfriend. Naruto, cheerfully, relax, that's how we get along, and you know it. Now let's go. You sounded a little serious, don't you think? RIAS just shook her head, but it was true, it had taken her some time, but she had gotten used to the strange relationship between the Hokage woman and her silly blonde boyfriend. The redhead smiled at her partner's smile. She simply approached her boyfriend to take his hand and go to Tsunade's office to find out what mission they had. The couple walked peacefully through the village streets, not paying much attention as they chatted and laughed until they both stopped when two people appeared in front of them. Hana, cheerfully, oh Naruto, I see you were on a mission and, thoughtful pose, were RIAS, right? Naruto smiled shyly as RIAS snuggled up to her partner's side. The redhead was somewhat nervous because next to her was the one she recognized as Kiba, the boy who had ruined her partner's previous relationship, although he was partly the reason why she found Naruto, but the look in the boy's eyes was not at all pleasant. Naruto hugged RIAS tightly. He noticed his old friend looking at his girlfriend with a hint of greed in the dog tamer's eyes, which gleamed with malice. Naruto, cheerfully, I don't know what happened at yesterday's council meeting, but they asked for an attack team and a tracking team for something. Hana nodded in agreement as she extended the basket to her brother beside her. Hana, cheerfully, so you'll be going there then. Kiba, curious, what happened with that? You didn't say anything, sister. Hana, sighs, go to the market. Tsunade-sama ordered that no civilians be informed of this mission. Not even my mother told me. Apparently, this mission is SS rank. Kiba grumbled at that as he grabbed the shopping basket and stormed off, not wanting to look at the blonde boy or his girlfriend, who weren't making much of an effort to avoid looking at the angry boy as he headed towards the market. Hana, seeing her brother like that, sighed, somewhat annoyed by it. Hana, sighs, that boy still doesn't realize it's his mistake and he's paying for it. Naruto sighed as he saw the back of his former friend, who seemed annoyed. Naruto, sighs, let's hope that one day he calms down and understands that his actions had consequences. Hana nodded as she also accompanied the couple to their leader's office to find out where he was sending her brother's dog. Tsunade's office. The blonde Senju looked at the two jounin who were serious, the three chunins and a former root behind them. They didn't quite understand what was happening since the atmosphere in the room was somewhat tense. Tsunade, would be, damn, they're taking so long. The woman was about to send an ambu to look for those two, but she stopped when she noticed the door opening. Naruto, cheerfully, Grandma Tsunade, we're here. The blonde just sighed at that. Tsunade, would be, alright brat, get in. I need a barrier quickly. The blonde man, seeing how the occupants of the room, with serious faces, and the blonde who wouldn't hesitate to shout her displeasure, nodded. Naruto, serious, I understand. Hand gestures, silent seal ready. Nothing will escape from here. The blonde nodded as she placed a folder on the table. Tsunade, would be, this tracking and force squad is destined to find the ambu Captain Itachi Uchiha. Hana was in shock about that. Hana, shock, wait, how? But he's a deserter. Tsunade nodded as she looked at the serious girl. Tsunade, serious, I understand then. If they've followed orders, this is the same as the clan leaders meeting. This is a secret SS. The punishment for revealing it is death. This is important. If you wish to know, you may, if not, it's best not to risk it. Hana nodded. She had shared a few missions with the Uchiha boy and was quite surprised when she found out what he had done. Hana, would be, no Tsunade-sama, I always knew something wasn't right about Itachi's actions. Tsunade nodded, it would be. Tsunade, serious, look, the Uchiha clan was planning a coup. Hana opened her eyes. Sensei tried to resolve the clan's grievances, but Danzo never accepted it. The old man thought the Sharingan was being wasted and gave Itachi two options. The first, to join the clan and fight against the village, or the second, to betray the clan, kill them, and bear the guilt, becoming a rogue and a spy for this village. The only condition was that Sasuke be protected and grow up believing his clan was the victim of that event, even though the price was his younger brother's hatred. Hana was in shock and clenched her fists, upset by the truth. Hana, would be, so that meeting was for that, what was the result? Tsunade, would be, the council decided to capture Itachi so that he can answer to the demon. At this point, he cannot hide. Naruto, curious, but if that's the case, the only traitor would be Sasuke. Sakura, who was behind them, clenched her fists. Tsunade, sighs, from now on, the daimyo will have the final say, although since it was a mistake by the elders, we will expect them to carry out that sentence. Shino, calmly, so this squad has orders to capture Itachi, right? Tsunade, would be, no. Everyone raised an eyebrow except Naruto, who smiled and replied. Naruto, cheerfully, escort a leaf shinobi and capture the Akatsuki member, right? Kakashi and Tsunade smiled at that. Tsunade, cheerfully, that's right, now that the orders have been given, go. After saying that, Hana handed the suitcase with the equipment to Akamaru, and the teams, after dispelling the barrier, left to complete the mission. When Hana saw how those who had been there for the mission had left, she too left. She needed to talk to her mother. Tsunade said nothing to stop the girl since she knew about the event she mentioned earlier. Inuzuka Complex. Kiba had some things going on. The man wasn't the happiest person at the moment. Kiba, annoyed, a chunning like me, a messenger for shopping, how humiliating. To his annoyance, his mother was standing at the door, looking somewhat annoyed. Would be, where were you? You still have chores and the vets will be opening soon. You have to clean the cages and some of the animals need a bath. Kiba, annoyed, Hana went to the Hokage tower and left me the errand. I don't know what she's doing. Sighs, she's a shinobi, if you didn't know. She might go on unexpected missions. Now again, that broom doesn't move by itself, you know. Kiba was angry before replying. Hana entered through the door. Hana, would be, Mother Tsunade-sama told me something interesting, we need to talk. Nodded with a sigh. Serene, I understand. Come, we can do something. Smiling, tea with my daughter sounds good. Hana nodded with a sigh, but in the end she smiled at that, following her mother towards the kitchen, but Kiba looked annoyed at his sister. Kiba, would be, hey, tell me what's going on, Akamaru, where is he? I need to know where he is and what happened. Hana, would be, don't worry, Kakashi is in charge, besides, Naruto and Shino are in that squad, but now I need to know something important. Kiba grunted, but before that, a bucket and some brooms were thrown by his mother. Serious, look, that won't be cleaned up. There are only a few months left until the academy's registration. If you want the permit, you have to earn it. The dog trainer grunted in annoyance as he walked towards the vet, though he was still grumbling but didn't know what to do. Hana just sighed. Hana, serene, I hope that one day he'll realize that he was the one who made the mistake. Just sighed, knowing that his son was stubborn and wouldn't accept the mistake he had made. Upon arriving in the kitchen, Hana prepared a teapot while her mother brought out some desserts for that conversation. Serene, from what I see, you found out about Itachi, right? Hana nodded with a sigh as she shuddered slightly. Hana, serenely, I still don't understand why that advisor dared to do that, and what about Itachi's burden? Also shuddered. She didn't know if she could rest in peace knowing the great burden she was leaving on her children. Serene, yes, the Shinobi Council has now decided to continue Itachi's recovery, but it's still a secret. Hana, would be, it's unfair, don't you think she's already suffered a lot after all this time? Nodded as she took a sip of her tea to relax a little. Serene, we know, but the group that just left went to see Itachi's version. He would have the final say. Hana nodded sadly for the boy she barely knew but who was also very skilled. She was somewhat melancholic, as she didn't know what mental state he would be in if that had happened to her. Smiled as she placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder, though she didn't know how to feel either, since thanks to her son they had almost gotten into trouble because of the corrupt village counselor's ideals. After that, the Inuzuka women went for a walk to clear their minds a little after hearing the story of the Uchiha boy. With Kakashi and Yamato's group, Kakashi had explained the mission parameters to everyone. At this point, the shinobi were on their way through the tree branches to a place a toad had indicated before they departed. Naruto, sighs, so we're just a support group for the no. Sigh, calmly, it seems so, but if I remember correctly, Kisame is the one accompanying him, isn't he? Naruto nodded seriously at that. Naruto, sighs, if that crazy guy is strong, it'll be difficult if both of them are there. Sakura, would be, he no longer has any charges. I wonder if he would refuse. Yamato, serious, he's still a spy for the village. Remember, that puts his mission at risk. When he arrives, he'll give the orders. After that, everyone nodded, although Sakura wasn't happy with how things were going. With Sasuke the day before, Sasuke and his group stood in front of a large metal gate, while Karen and Suigetsu watched from afar, looking more worried. Karen, scared, Sasuke-kun, I hope you're okay. Suigetsu, cheerfully, how do you think I killed him? I know Hyuga is very violent. Karen bit her nails in a hint of fear. She had been here before and it wasn't pretty. Although the various mutilated bodies and some red reliefs didn't help much, some bodies even looked like bloody rugs on the floor. Sasuke mocked the two as he approached a cage. When he opened it, it was quickly closed from the inside. Scared, no, don't open it, go away, I don't want to hurt them. Karen and Suigetsu shuddered at that. Sasuke, calmly, Hyuga, calm down, let me in. You won't hurt anyone anymore. I need your strength. I promise that if you help me, you'll never bother anyone again in your life. As the large man entered, his skin began to harden, taking on a grayish tone. Before he knew what he was doing, he lunged at Sasuke, who simply walked past, breaking through the metal door as if it were nothing. Upon seeing the door, Suigetsu drew his sword, but swallowed hard at the sight of the very tall man who looked like a monster, as large amounts of saliva dripped from his mouth and a mad grin spread across his face. Juice, maniac, if two people to kill. Karen froze at the overwhelming amount of chakra, it overwhelmed her. The man quickly advanced menacingly towards Karen as his arm transformed into a large axe to cut down the red-haired woman. Before taking another step, the man saw red as Sasuke stood before him with his Sharingan activated, and he fell to his knees as he transformed back into his human form. Sasuke, calmly, so what do you say, will you come with me? Hyuga, calmly, so it's you, isn't it? Kimimaro was telling me about this before Orochimaru's plans. He was the only one who could stop me. Standing up, promise me you won't do any more harm if I get out of here. Sasuke nodded as he turned around. Sasuke, calmly, you don't need to worry, from now on you will be our partner. The man nodded as he took a cloak and ninja sandals that a fearful Karen offered him. Despite trying, Karen couldn't remember when she had been so afraid. Karen, smiling, if we're traveling for who knows how long, it's better to be comfortable. The man nodded as he adjusted his clothes. Juice, calmly, yes, and I'm sorry about before. I don't know how to stop. I hope I didn't hurt anyone. Karen shuddered as she hugged Sasuke's arm, who simply began walking towards the exit. Sasuke, calmly, it's time, we have to get to that place. Karen smiled happily, seeing no signs of annoyance in Sasuke, no effort to push her away. Suigetsu, sigh, that means we're already after Itachi, isn't it? Sasuke nodded as they left the cave. Sasuke, calmly, if, according to Orochimaru's guard, Akatsuki will be meeting in the next village for some things, I don't know if he's my brother, but I need to know where they are. Before anything else, some little birds landed on Yugo's shoulders. Suigetsu, curious, wow, before you seemed like a madman who would kill at the slightest provocation. How strange you are. Then Karen hit her head, dissolving it into water. Karen, annoyed, oh yeah, you're so normal. Suigetsu regenerated quickly, annoyed with the red-haired girl. Sasuke, calmly, calm down, besides, we're only 3 days away, let's go to. Juice, calmly, northwest, the birds say there are 2 people with the characteristics of Akatsuki in the forest 1 day from here. Sasuke raised an eyebrow but nodded. Sasuke, calmly, okay, we'll go to that place. Holding up a scroll, this is important. Here, Karen, it's for an emergency. Karen, thinking, oh Sasuke-kun, trust me, I won't let you down. 1 day later, the Konoha group. Naruto and the others had been gathering information but hadn't managed to find anything useful. RIAS, sigh, they don't seem convinced that he's the one they told us about. Kakashi, calmly, the important thing is to find Itachi, but if we manage to capture any Akatsuki member, that's enough for the plan. Naruto, sighs, we've already finished off some, but apparently the most troublesome ones remain. Kakashi, calmly, it's true, no one has yet met the madman who can keep a group of S-rank criminals at bay. Hinata and Shino watched as Naruto lay calmly smiling on Rias's lap, who was also worried about her boyfriend. Rias, calmly, then we must gather information to find him, right? Thinking, I won't let anything happen to you. Upon seeing Rias's face, Naruto sighed as he took her hand. Naruto, calmly, you know, a while ago I won something amazing, pulls a necklace out of his jacket, I won't die until I'm Hokage, smiling, I still have something up my sleeve if anything happens to me. Rias smiled and hugged Naruto for that. Sakura, annoyed, you're a reckless idiot. If you die, you die. There's no way to cure that, you idiot. Rias and Naruto just shook each other's hands. Rias, thinking, I hope my eternity is by your side. Yamato, serious, alright, we've rested for a while now. Come on, we can't stay for too long. After saying that, everyone packed their things to continue with the mission. With Sasuke, the Uchiha and his group had arrived at a nearby village. Suigetsu, sighs, what are we doing here, Sasuke? Are you tired? Did you sleep too much? The man just sneered as he took out some things, these were scrolls, cloaks, chain bags, and thigh holsters. Sasuke, calmly, I went to an ancient place of my clan, showing some scrolls, we cannot fight without weapons, equip yourselves, we will leave later, looking at Yugo, you still have them in sight. The big man simply reached out to the window with an arm, and a small sparrow landed on his arm and began chirping in his ear before flying away. Yugo, calmly, he's in the forest outside of here. What do you want to do, Sasuke? Sasuke, calmly, I must go to that place. First of all, they must know where he is. Karen, would be, then we'll go to that forest right now. Before that, Yugo spoke again. Juice, calmly, an overwhelming chakra. I'm told a group of people are coming this way, but I can't identify where they're from. There are 3 of them who pose a greater threat. One has silver hair and covers his face, then there's a golden-haired redhead, but the strongest is a blonde. He says his most distinctive feature is that he wears orange. Sasuke unconsciously clenched his fists, he knew those traits well. Sasuke, serious, good, plans changed. Karen, you and Hyuga distract those groups. They're from Konoha, surely they're on a search. I can't allow that. They mustn't find me. Looking at Suigetsu, be careful. Avoid a confrontation. If he's here, it won't be easy. Suigetsu, amused, just because they kicked your ass doesn't mean I'm the same, you know. Sasuke said nothing as he walked towards the exit, taking his sword. Sasuke, calmly, don't underestimate him. That blonde guy was able to face Orochimaru at 100%. Dealing with him now isn't feasible. After saying that, Sasuke left the room to look for clues. Hyuga, seeing that through the window, spoke in a soft tone. Juice, calmly, go guide him, will you? Without another word, a bird flew away. Sasuke was walking peacefully, admiring the forest, when suddenly a small bird landed on his shoulder, pointing to his right and chirping. Sasuke, calmly, I see, then it must be that way. Without further ado, he followed the instructions given by the bird from Hyuga. With the group on the sheet, Naruto felt something while they were on their way, but someone inside him was somewhat uneasy. Kyubi, serious, you're still far away, you won't arrive on time, but that energy is very familiar to me. Naruto, serious, tell me what you mean by that, I don't understand. Kyubi, serious, I gave you a longer range for this, but you're still not on par with the enemy. Don't act recklessly. Naruto nodded slowly, that fox was acting calmer than he remembered. Then he felt a blow to his shoulder. Sigh, cheerfully, look, something new has happened. Naruto nodded as he jumped to the ground, followed by his group. Kakashi, serious, did you feel anything, Naruto? RIAS approached when she saw Naruto become somewhat serious. Naruto, calmly, he increased my detection range, but it's not safe in that direction. Pointing north, 2 Akatsuki members are in that area, but it's not Itachi or Sasuke. It's clearly an Uchiha. That alerted the 2 Jounin and those who knew the clan's history. Kakashi, serious, if we don't find anything, we must investigate whether there are any other Uchiha deserters or descendants. RIAS, would be, so what do we do now? Naruto, sighs, there's a village near that forest. According to what we know about the spy toads, Sasuke's group might be there. It would be best to check that area first if they're nearby. RIAS, serenely, it's hard to believe they're together, this is very suspicious. Sakura was upset, they were close to seeing Sasuke-kun again and they had so many doubts. Sakura, annoyed, you should leave him alone. Sasuke-kun might be close to making a mistake, and here we are talking. RIAS, would be, Sakura, we have priorities now. That organization already has some tailed beasts, and there are still many members we don't know about. We might run into stronger and more difficult people. We can't rush into that. Sakura glared at her, annoyed, but Kakashi spoke before she could reply. Kakashi, calmly, it's true, we still can't identify the threat. If it's not Itachi, it's not relevant, but we do have information, and that's the main thing now. Sakura clenched her fist tightly, but before she could say anything, Naruto became serious. Naruto, serious, they're in battle. Sasuke found them first. That alarmed everyone, who sped up to find out what was happening. With Sasuke, the Uchiha clan member walked calmly through the place before the bird flew away, but a voice caught his attention. Sad-faced childishly, oh, but Deidara-senpai, I'm already bored, and the village is over there, we could get something to eat. The blonde man grunted in annoyance, but before he could say anything, he dodged a slash from Sasuke. Deidara, serious, so you attack us? How evil you are. Seeing the masked man shake his hands in panic, Sasuke swung his sword, cutting the man. Sasuke, calmly, this was very easy. Deidara stepped back a little while his hands were in his bags of clay. Deidara, cheerfully, look at that, you look a lot like that idiot, you're probably his little brother. Sasuke said nothing as he moved his sword forward. Sasuke, calmly, where is the... Before he could say more, he felt his arms being grabbed from behind. Deidara, cheerfully, well done, Tobi. Tobi, cheerfully, look at this, he's distracted. Come on, Deidara-senpai, attack. He's immobilized. Deidara smiled at that as he launched some explosives to attack Sasuke, who only growled in annoyance. Sasuke, annoyed, this is nothing, moving his sword, Chidori Nagashi. The man behind him was startled to see the sword near his head and the lightning that struck him. Deidara, annoyed, you're just like that annoying blonde Jinchuriki, although, smiling, believe me, that blonde is more skilled than you. This angered Sasuke, who approached an amused Deidara, who created a clay bird to get away from the annoyed Sasuke. Sasuke, annoyed, don't compare me to that idiot. Deidara laughed as he prepared for battle. Tobi, who was on the ground, only had a small smile on his face. Tobi, thinking, I see, so he's already going for it. Let's see how strong you are to finish him off. Without further ado, the man lay down on the ground, waiting for the two of them to start fighting. With Itachi and Kisame, the duo walked calmly along a clear path, neither saying a word to the other. Then Itachi began to cough, stopping in his tracks. Kisame, calmly, it's catching up with you now. You think what you're doing is wise? Itachi simply wiped the blood from his lip and hand as he continued on his way. Itachi, calmly, yes, after all, I only have a little left to do. Looking at the sky, the job is almost complete. Kisame just chuckled as they both continued on their way without saying anything. Itachi calmly followed Kisame as the man took a few slow, discreet steps, creating a clone that followed a crow in a particular direction while covering his mouth again. Kisame, sighs, you know, I don't think he'd accept this if he knew you weren't at 100%. Itachi said nothing as he walked past her. Itachi, calmly, he doesn't need to know this. Without further ado, they both continued on their way. One was carefree with his typical toothy grin, while the other had a small thought in his head. Itachi, thinking, I hope he can make him reconsider. After that, they both entered a small town that was full of fog. End of chapter. Part 45. Sasuke vs Deidara fight. Sasuke scoffed as he saw the man lying dead on the floor. Sasuke, calmly, tell me where Itachi is. The Akatsuki man laughed at that while flicking his bangs to reveal his metallic eye. Deidara, cheerfully, oh, you're so funny. I don't know where it is, or to be honest, I don't care, you know. The raven-haired man growled in annoyance as he activated his Sharingan and pointed his sword at him. Sasuke, calmly, I'll get the answers from you now. The man smiled as he launched several clay spiders that exploded near Sasuke, but he hadn't expected him to approach so quickly, almost cutting him, since the only thing he cut was a clay clone that exploded instantly. Deidara, cheerfully, seriously, that's it after all. The only one worth anything from that pathetic Uchiha clan was Itachi. Just then the sound of birds chirping sounded and he jumped up quickly, making a hand sign, but cursed under his breath when nothing happened. Upon impact with the bird, Sasuke noticed a man's hand signal. Sasuke, calmly, I understand, so those things are weak against lightning. Good to know. Deidara grunted at that, but didn't let the boy know that he didn't have many ideas. Deidara, calmly, well, you described that, but, smiling, you know, that Kyuubi brat knew it from the beginning. Sasuke growled at that, clenching his fists, but he didn't let his annoyance show in his eyes. Sasuke, calmly, you shouldn't compare me to him. Deidara, cheerfully, it's true, after all, it's an A rank in the bingo book, not you, a B rank. Sasuke growled in annoyance this time, not holding back as he lunged at a smiling Deidara. Deidara smiled as he saw the boy grow impatient and approached. The man was struck by the sword before Sasuke could even realize what was happening. His hands were grabbed, and he noticed. The man began to turn white, and the bird he was on collapsed. When he looked up, he saw the man, and a clay dragon was heading toward him. Deidara, happy, Katsu. The man smiled at the sight, but grunted slightly as he watched a cloud shoot out some distance from the explosion, but he still smiled. Deidara, cheerfully, idiot, that'll never work. The C4 in my explosion is more than you think. Sasuke groaned in pain and annoyance when the explosion activated his cursed seal in its second form, even though he was already badly injured from the blast. In the distance, Naruto sensed a great amount of energy to the southeast of his position and quickly jumped to the top of a tree. Upon seeing this, Kakashi alerted the group and they all traveled to the ground to await the blonde man. Naruto saw something moving in the distance. Naruto, thinking, what's happening in that place? Without further ado, I went down to the ground where Kakashi spoke. Kakashi, serious, what did you feel, Naruto? Naruto nodded as he elaborated. Naruto, serious, it's clearly a fight between Sasuke and Deidara, but something's going on. We're still far away, and I can't sense Deidara's flying thunder god seal. I think it was a bad idea not to mark Sasuke. Sakura grunted at that while RIAS spoke. RIAS, would be, so what's the next step? Yamato, serious, as far as we know, Sasuke is moving in a group since his scent is mixed, but we don't know their position or where they are hiding. Kakashi nodded as he drew a kunai and cut his thumb. Kakashi, serious, alright, we'll make 3 groups for this. Serious, summoning jutsu. As it ended, a cloud of smoke dissipated, and Kakashi's ninja hounds appeared. Pakun, calmly, hello Kakashi, what will we do for you today? Kakashi, serious, alright, I need you to split into 3 groups for this. Pointing at Yamato, you go with Naruto and RIAS. We can't risk any traps with these men around. The 3 nodded and took a step forward. Naruto, serious, okay then, where are we headed? Kakashi, serious, you will go with Urushi and Buru. Don't take too many risks, but the fight is your point. The 3 of you are the most suitable. Depending on the outcome, you must capture the survivor. Remember that both groups are considered threats. The 3 nodded and quickly left for the site of the fight. Sakura clenched her fists upon hearing that, but her former teacher spoke to her, pulling her from those thoughts. Kakashi, serious, Sakura, you, Sai, and Hinata will be the second group. You'll go to the city, it's a critical point. Avoid conflict. Your mission is more reconnaissance. Akamaru, Pakun, and Akino will accompany you. Be careful. No one protested and they left, although Sakura never stopped thinking about the battle Sasuke was fighting. Kakashi, serious, alright Shino, you'll come with me and Pakun to the borders. There's a mission from Tsunade-sama. While that's happening, the rest of you disperse. No one should escape, okay? Without further ado, all the dogs howled and went off in different directions to cover more range. Back in the fight, Deidara smiled as he watched the Uchiha emerge from it, but the further he moved away, the more it gradually disintegrated. Deidara, cheerfully, what do you think of that? The big explosion is just a distraction. I can create explosives so small you can inhale them. Imagine that, exploding slowly from the inside. Isn't that great? The man laughed maniacally as he watched Sasuke slowly disintegrate, but before that he spat out some blood and when he looked at his chest he noticed a sword piercing his body. Sasuke, calmly, it's good to know about your technique. Now tell me, where is Itachi? Deidara grunted in annoyance, but seeing the great destruction he had caused earlier, he became even more annoyed at the fact that he was still standing on his great dragon. Deidara, annoyed, but how, when did those damn illusions? The man grunted, jerking the gun away, causing a spurt of blood and a small cry of pain. Sasuke, calmly, you're not strong enough to stop an illusion from my Sharingan. Deidara just grunted in annoyance. The man discarded his Akatsuki cloak, tore his chainmail armor, and glared angrily at Sasuke. Deidara, annoyed, you're a bastard, but believe me, you'll die. After that, I wouldn't care. I also have a score to settle with that bastard Itachi. Upon hearing that, Sasuke growled angrily. He would never let anyone but himself kill that man, so he also implemented lightning in his sword to attack. Sasuke, serious, you're not the one. I'm the only one who can kill him, that's all. You're simply trash who wouldn't do anything against him. Deidara growled at him as he looked around and leaped into the open field. Sasuke followed shortly after, but before landing, Sasuke channeled his lightning chakra, destroying the mines that Tobi had set up earlier for the fight. Deidara, annoyed, you know I can't drag this out. Smiling, I won't let you escape. Sasuke raised an eyebrow as the man began to untie some restraints on his chest. Upon seeing this, Tobi smiled as a vortex formed in his free eye. Tobi, thinking, well, one less. Looking at Sasuke, let's hope you're like I think you are, Sasuke Uchiha. Without another word, the masked man left without leaving any trace of his existence. In the fight, Sasuke made a swift movement with his katana as a few clay spiders fell on him, but the explosion wasn't very large. Activating his Sharingan to prevent anything new, he noticed Deidara's mouth on his chest and a powerful concentration of chakra building up at that point. Deidara, cheerfully, look at that. This is my ultimate work of art, one you'll never be able to escape. Sasuke was already somewhat injured from his last carelessness. The raven-haired boy noticed how everything was compressing at that point. The mouth of his chest concentrated as it absorbed all the chakra for an explosion. It seemed very little since in a short time it would explode. Deidara, cheerfully, unhappy you will go with me to the afterlife. This is an explanation from which you will never escape. Mind, I'm sorry, Toby. Sasuke used the wings of his cursed seal to escape, but he wasn't so lucky as they exploded very quickly, causing great collateral damage. Sasuke groaned as one of his wings exploded, but before things got worse, he did something in a few seconds to escape alive, although with a lot of damage to his body. In the distance, Karen and Suigetsu rushed into the forest when the redhead sensed an unreal amount of energy, but before she could do anything, Deidara's explosion completely changed a large part of the forest, causing a huge gust of wind. Karen, shock, or not Sasuke's chakra already. Then he remembered the scroll that Sasuke had given him. Suigetsu raised an eyebrow as he saw the girl pull out a scroll. Suigetsu, curious, and what is that crap now? Karen didn't pay much attention as she took out a vial with some blood. She smeared a little on the scroll's matrix, and upon infusing chakra, a large purple snake appeared, but it was badly damaged and burned. Suigetsu noticed how the giant thing wanted to swallow something, so he quickly grabbed his sword and slashed it, causing it to open its mouth in pain. The two noticed Sasuke in the animal's mouth. Before they could do anything, Hyuga appeared, pulling Sasuke from the great snake's jaws. Manda, annoyed, you stupid scum, you dared to use that damned Sharingan on me? If I could, I would have eaten you before helping you. Sasuke's group noticed how the great snake's eyes turned white, dying at that instant. Karen was worried about Sasuke, but her eyes widened when two very powerful energies approached them. Karen, would be, Sasuke-kun, 3 people are approaching, but 2 of them have a very large chakra to do. Sasuke groaned, barely conscious from the fight. Sasuke, tired, if we go, he has an ability, according to Orochimaru, called the Eye of Karura. Karen opened her mouth and eyes in disbelief at that and quickly remembered something. Karen, would be, then this will work with the seal I made for that snake. Let's get to the inn, with this we'll lose them. Sasuke had fainted from the fight while the others went to the inn they had rented, but they knew they couldn't hide in this village. After saying that, the boys left, none noticing a hooded figure approaching the large body of the dead snake lying in the desert clearing. Sad face cheerfully, so that was all for you, Lord Manda. Don't worry, it won't be forgotten. The man grinned like a madman from behind his hood as he pulled out medical instruments and began cutting fragments and tissues from the still fresh body, showing no signs of decomposition. The man noticed the presences that quickly approached. With Naruto, the blonde man and his companion stopped dead in their tracks when the large figure and the great concentration of chakra stopped the explosion that resonated from a great distance. RIAS hugged Naruto as he led them towards a tree to avoid the resulting blast. RIAS, shock, what was that? Naruto stared seriously at the horizon as his senses heightened. Naruto, serious, let's continue this way, but something is very wrong. The 3 chakras that fought vanished, but the 3 chakras of the city also disappeared. It's very strange. Yamato, serious, then let's go ahead and investigate. The 2 boys nodded and continued on their way to the battle scene. With Sakura's group, as the pink-haired girl was hit by the blast of wind from the explosion, a great weight settled in her mind as she continued to watch with great concern. Sigh, calmly, let's go to the city. If they're there, it will be easy to spot a group carrying a corpse. Sakura glared at him, annoyed, while Hinata watched in amazement and a touch of panic at the force of the explosion. Sakura, annoyed, shut up, sigh. Let's go to the city. Thinking, if he's hurt, I have to save him. Without further ado, the 3, followed by the Niken, went to check out the city that was already nearby. With Kakashi, the Jounin and Chunin both stopped, watching the explosion from a distance, hoping everything would turn out alright, though Shinobi had a question. Shino, serious, so Kakashi-sensei, what should we look into? Kakashi, serious, an ANBU group has Jiraiya-sama's documents. He left some information about the Akatsuki, as well as some documents for the demon. Thinking, his last masterpiece must also be published. I won't let him down. Shino nodded, knowing they were important documents, though Kakashi's thoughts were on a conversation before he left. Flashback. Kakashi was walking peacefully, reading his book, when a voice caught his attention. Sad face calmly, "So you're Mr. Kakashi." The man raised an eyebrow when he saw a small frog that greeted him. Kakashi, calmly, "If I see a message from Jiraiya-sama." The toad nodded calmly as he gave her a leaf. Toad, calmly, "That's it. Lord Jiraiya gave that to me for you, Tsunade-sama. You mustn't know." Kakashi raised an eyebrow at that, noticing how the toad had already left. He simply placed the note in the middle of his book and read it. Kakashi, thinking, "Kakashi, remember my book. You know Tsunade won't do anything good with that. I trust you. The publisher is the same. Come on, you're the only one I trust for this high-level task, bringing Ika to publication. Go ahead, you're trustworthy, Kakashi." The man smiled as he discreetly burned the note, and a gust of wind carried away the ashes. End of flashback. Kakashi, serious, "I won't let him down, Jiraiya-sama." Without further ado, the two headed towards the place where one of Jiraiya's spies was waiting. In the forest, Naruto and RIAS arrived first. Both looked with some amazement at the large crater in the area, but there was no sign of anyone nearby, while Yamato spoke seriously to the two of them. Yamato, serious, "Let's split up. RIAS, go south. Naruto and the Niken, go east. I'll search in the north. Avoid conflict and close in. Go ahead." Naruto and RIAS nodded before leaving. Naruto kissed RIAS's cheek and smiled at her. Naruto, cheerfully, "Good luck, and call me if you have any problems." RIAS smiled back, returning the affection with a kiss. RIAS, cheerfully, "Yes, I'll be careful, I promise." "You too, don't get into trouble." Naruto laughed at that as he started walking. Naruto, cheerfully, "I swear I'll never leave you." The redhead smiled at that as she went to check that place. Naruto reached a place where the vegetation was more abundant. As he continued on, a voice caught his attention. Wink with a frown cheerfully, "Well, look who I ran into here, Naruto Uzumaki, right?" Naruto turned around to look when a hooded man appeared from behind a tree. Naruto, serious, "Kabuto, what's going on here? I didn't expect to see you again under these circumstances." The man just chuckled, showing part of his face to the blonde man. Kabuto, cheerfully, well, I think you don't miss a thing, do you?" Naruto raised an eyebrow as he relaxed. Naruto, calmly, "I see you won't attack. Tell me, why were you looking for me?" The man smiled as he placed a black book on the floor. Kabuto, cheerfully, "It's simply a thank you, you know. After all, Lord Orochimaru never made any progress in this investigation. Taking off his hood, he never achieved what I have." Naruto tensed up when he saw the man's face. Naruto, serious, "I see you haven't been inactive during this time. What did you do to your face?" The man had a crazy look on his face as he opened his arms, revealing one that looked more like a snake than a human arm. Kabuto, smiling maniacally, "It's something my master never could do in this field. I studied whenever I could, every step, every experiment, and every result is in my mind. I never let anything slip by, kid. The pinnacle of Lord Orochimaru's research. I haven't reached the pinnacle yet." Naruto took a few steps forward as Kabuto backed away. When he was close to the book, he picked it up and, after glancing through it, opened his eyes slightly. Naruto, serious, "I see you had a lot of information about those beings, so can you tell me why he was so afraid?" The blonde man only grunted a little when he saw Itachi's face in that book. Kabuto, cheerfully, "It's simple, information is the most important thing in a fight. Don't believe me, they're weak in information, keep that in mind." Smiling, "One last thing, take out as many as you can for me. I also won't reveal Danzo's death." Before they knew what had happened, the man exploded into smoke as Yamato and RIAS approached. RIAS, would be, Naruto, what happened? The blonde man hugged her while giving her the Kabuto book. Naruto, serious, "I think Kabuto has been somewhat busy, showing the book, besides, he wasn't naive enough to leave them unguarded." RIAS and Yamato glanced through the book where the members of Akatsuki were listed, along with some high-ranking shinobi from other villages. Yamato, serious, "This is important. It's clear that Orochimaru also had some quite skilled spies." Naruto, serious, "We know that he didn't use ordinary methods for that either. Yamato nodded as RIAS shuddered. RIAS sighs, so, moving on to another topic, there's nothing here that can help us. Naruto also saw the mission leader to receive new orders. Yamato, calmly, let's go back here. There's nothing here. It's best to wait for confirmation from the group that went to the city. Naruto nodded, though he was somewhat pensive, as they ran towards the meeting point. RIAS noticed this and took her partner's hand as she offered her support. Naruto smiled at her before realizing it. The three of them were enveloped by a flock of crows, forcing them to separate. Yamato became worried when he saw a white creature lunge at him. Some prevented the dogs from alerting the groups. Wink with a frown cheerfully, look at that, haha, well that's all, let's see what happens now. Yamato was struggling, trying to check on the boys. Yamato, thinking, damn, right now, how did we not see it coming? Within the illusion, Naruto and RIAS saw that, the redhead was about to do something to leave, but Naruto took her hand, speaking seriously. Naruto, calmly, so, Itachi, can I know why you're doing this? At that moment, the redhead noticed how a large number of the crows transformed into Itachi. Itachi, calmly, I understand. I see you're not the same as before. Why did you let this illusion affect them? RIAS looked at her boyfriend and the man in front of her with some caution. Naruto, calmly, I didn't sense any hostility. Besides, can you tell me why you're acting like this? You're not the type of person who shows up without a reason. Itachi, calmly, it's simple, really. I've come to ask something. RIAS, would be, and this was the best method. The redhead was somewhat annoyed at not understanding anything those two were saying. Naruto smiled at her and hugged her to calm her down a little. Naruto, cheerfully, relax, we're not in danger, but what do you want now? Itachi went straight to the blonde man. Itachi, serious, it's about Sasuke. I want to know what you plan to do from now on. Naruto sighed at that while looking at him seriously. Naruto, calmly, I'm not naive. I know his actions have consequences. He's already been branded a traitor. Itachi seemed unfazed by this, but we can reach an agreement since we discovered something when we killed Danzo. That certainly caught the man's attention. Itachi, serious, so he's already dead, but if that happened, RIAS, would be, your charges were dismissed. The council has recognized what happened as an act of betrayal by the counselors. Naruto, serious, but now we're only here for new orders. Now, as Captain Amber Weasel, what are your orders? Itachi gave a wry smile at that as he looked at Naruto and the girl seriously. Itachi, would be, the plan continues for me. I know he's looking for me. The fight is imminent. I must do this. Naruto clenched his fists at that. Naruto, serious, you know we can do something for everyone, you shouldn't risk this. The man smiled at him as he approached the two, making a hand seal, and a crow landed on Itachi's shoulder. Itachi, serious, it's simple for me, it's what I want to do. If the clan doesn't suffer the consequences, and if Sasuke returns, that would be fine, and my mission would be complete. Naruto was about to reply, but RIAS grabbed his arm, looking at the man. RIAS, would be, then so be it. Naruto looked at her, more than an order, it's a personal wish. I'm wrong. Naruto saw the man who couldn't let his face rest as he nodded, looking at the crow. Naruto, serious, if that's what you want, the council will know. I'll do everything I can to bring Sasuke back. That's my word. Itachi smiled at that as he activated his Sharingan and the crow, in a swift movement, entered Naruto's mouth. RIAS became worried when she saw Naruto trying to spit it out, but the crow entered the blonde's body. RIAS, shock, wait, what the? Naruto just coughed from the effort of swallowing the bird as some feathers came out of his mouth. Itachi, calmly, that was a gift, it will serve you well in the future. I trust you. You must act. Zetsu doesn't trust much anymore, if something gets out, something might go wrong. Naruto nodded as he and RIAS felt somewhat drowsy, and after a few seconds a red aura forcefully expelled from Naruto's body dispelled the illusion. Yamato saw the place where those two were and noticed the fox's chakra. Before doing anything, he heard a voice. Itachi, serious, alright Zetsu, it's time to go. The man in black and white smiled as he approached Itachi. Before Yamato knew what had happened, he noticed Naruto and RIAS's bodies on the ground as the two Akatsuki members left, just as Zetsu burrowed into the ground. Yamato quickly approached Naruto and created a clone to carry RIAS. Yamato, serious, I must get to the meeting point. When he picked up Naruto, he opened his eyes slightly when Naruto spoke in a whisper. Naruto whispered, we have Itachi's orders, but he's following us. Please act like nothing's wrong. Yamato quickened his pace while remaining alert for any enemy ambush. With Sakura's group, the team doctor was walking seriously through the town. The girl didn't know where to look. The girl was so lost in her search that she didn't notice the little birds flying above her, not even when one flew away. Lodging. Hyuga, who was at the window, raised his hand so that a bird could perch on his hand. Karen was taking care of Sasuke, who was bandaged and asleep in bed, while Suigetsu was calmly lying on the floor. Hyuga, calmly, he says that a group is looking for us without Leaf Shinobi and there are also some dogs. Suigetsu smiled as he raised his sword, but Karen threw some dirty cloaks at him. Suigetsu glared at her angrily as he took them. Suigetsu, annoyed, and this crap about me being your idiot's laundry room. Karen also took some things for medical care. Karen, annoyed, shut up, idiot, just cut that out. We're going to decimate them. If they're dogs, that'll do the trick. I'll try to camouflage the energy and the smells. If they think we've left, all the better. Suigetsu glared at her angrily as she began to tear the cloaks while some animals grabbed pieces, and then Suigetsu left to try and distract them. Hyuga, calmly, we must leave. I'll try to get out. If I remember correctly, Kimimaro said that Orochimaru's lair is a few kilometers away. Karen opened her eyes and smiled at that. Karen, cheerfully, that's right, that was the new base. If we're lucky, it hasn't been occupied yet, and the lab has medical equipment. You're a genius, Hyuga. The orange-haired one said nothing as he took Sasuke and climbed out the window. Thanks to some birds nearby, he managed to clear the way while Karen masked his chakra and scent, leading them in the opposite direction. Seeing Hyuga leave, Karen took a short walk. She needed to get some clean clothes and blankets for her stay there. As she walked along peacefully, she bumped into someone on her way to the place where she bought the things. Sakura didn't know what was happening. The dogs that accompanied them were going crazy because they couldn't detect the scent, as it seemed to be coming from everywhere. She was so distracted that she didn't notice she almost bumped into someone who narrowly avoided her. Karen, embarrassed, sorry, I'm in a bit of a hurry. Sakura watched curiously as the girl went down an alley. She was about to continue her search, but she stepped on something. When she looked down, she noticed a small bottle. Picking it up, a familiar smell reached her senses. Sakura, thinking, this is morphine, she was wearing bandages, that. The girl realized that the supplies were for someone in great pain, as if they had just finished a fight. Upon reaching the alley, I noticed that the red-haired woman hadn't seen anything, and that the alley had no exit. Before he could say anything else, Sai appeared behind him. Sai, calmly, Sakura, it seems the group left the village. All 7 entrances were checked and he left through all 7. We've lost track of him. Sakura clenched her fists at that as she approached Sai and Hinata, who regrouped to figure out what else to do. Hinata, sighs, I think it's best to see if the others have any information now. Sakura clenched her fists as she nodded and threw the spoiled medicine into a nearby trash can. Sakura, serious, that's right, come on, Kakashi-sensei must say something else. Without further ado, the 3 of them and the ninja dogs went to the meeting point. With Kakashi. Kakashi and Shino already had 3 scrolls given by Jiraiya for that purpose, in addition to giving some orders that the white-haired man. Kakashi, thinking, so that's what will happen. Jiraiya-sama, what mission were you sent on? The man simply shook off those thoughts when Shino spoke calmly while gazing into the distance. Shino, calmly, Kakashi-sensei, Captain Yamato. Looking ahead, I noticed the man carrying the 2 teenagers, both of them quickened their pace. Kakashi, serious, Yamato, what happened? The man nodded as he whispered a little. Yamato, serious, Naruto says that Zetsu is still following us and will alert us when he leaves him. Kakashi nodded as the 2 took their sides to avoid any ambush. After 15 minutes of running, Sakura, Sai, and Hinata's group appeared. Hinata was about to ask a question, but before she could say anything, Naruto got off Yamato's back and performed some hand seals. Naruto, serious, wind style, wind blades. Everyone watched in amazement as 3 white creatures fell when 4 trees were cleanly cut down by the blonde man. Kakashi became alert, but Naruto relaxed. Kakashi, serious, what's going on? After verifying that there was no more energy left, Naruto approached RIAS. Naruto, sighs, that was Zetsu, but I sensed something strange about these 3. Hand gestures, dispersion. Upon touching 2 fingers to RIAS's head, she began to awaken. RIAS, sleepily, what happened? Where is the? Naruto smiled at her, helping her to her feet, and kissed her on the mouth to wake her up, which made her blush, but she smiled. Naruto, cheerfully, relax, it's best to head back now. I already have a lead and orders for the village from Itachi. Kakashi nodded as all his ninja dogs dissipated into smoke. Kakashi, calmly, well then, if that's the case, we'll go back right now. Everyone nodded as they prepared to leave, but Sakura looked at Naruto. Sakura, would be, wait, we still don't know anything about Sasuke-kun's whereabouts. Naruto raised an eyebrow as he turned around, expanding his senses to the fullest, but he felt nothing in his surroundings. Naruto, sighs, no, my flying thunder god marker is out of range. Besides, it's like his chakra disappeared, and there's no trace of it at the battle site. It's like he vanished. Sakura, annoyed, so you're saying he just died or what? Naruto shook his head at that. Naruto, sighs, that's a possibility, I won't deny it, but remember that he also has a summoning contract. Maybe he was simply summoned in reverse. Although, if I remember correctly, 4 chakras suddenly disappeared from the northeast exit of that village. Didn't they know anything about that? Yamato, serious, Naruto, you're the only censor in the group, but they didn't find any anomalies in the city. At the very least, you can tell us something. Sai, calmly, if a room was vacated at the last minute and the records appear to have been altered. Hinata, shyly, I heard that some birds were acting strangely while scattering pieces of cloth, and Akamaru confirmed that they were Sasuke's. Sakura, annoyed, a woman not very tall with glasses and red hair, but it was more dull than Ria-san's, it wasn't like blood. This confused most of them, although Naruto, Kakashi, and Yamato did have a slight idea of what might be happening. Naruto, sighs, if that's the case, we're just wasting our time. Kakashi nodded, as did Yamato. Shino, calmly, that would mean if we expand the range, we'd have a chance, don't you think? Naruto, sighs, they have an Uzumaki with them, and apparently she has the same sensory abilities as me, but it seems she awakened them earlier in that field, she's more advanced than me. RIAS approached her boyfriend, noticing he seemed distressed, to comfort him a little, causing a pang of jealousy and annoyance in Hinata, who only clenched her fists in frustration and jealousy. Upon hearing that, Sakura also clenched her fists. Kakashi, calmly, if that's the case, do you think you have anything to counter that seal? Naruto, cheerfully, I have the seal that nullifies that ability, but without its location, it's simply a waste of time. They nodded, though they didn't notice how some birds scattered. Only Kakashi, Naruto, and RIAS watched distractedly from the sky, knowing it wouldn't be wise to follow them. RIAS, sighs, well, I think despite everything, smiling, this mission was a success, wasn't it? Naruto smiled at her as he hugged RIAS, who happily snuggled up to his side. Naruto was relieved to see that nothing had happened. Sakura clenched her fists at the clear suggestion of abandoning the mission. Hinata, meanwhile, suppressed her tears at the sight of Naruto's partner, just seeing them made her curse inwardly the woman who had made her throw away the man she loved for someone who only saw her as a prize. She was lost in her angry thoughts when she felt a hand on her head. When she looked up, she felt tears welling up in her eyes as she saw Naruto's warm gaze. Naruto, smiling, don't worry, let's go home. For now, everything will be alright. Hinata was about to say something, but RIAS's voice echoed in the end. RIAS, cheerfully, that's true, for now we're going, smiling. We haven't had a date in a while, winking. What do you say? Naruto smiled at that as he walked away, noticing how the senseis began their journey towards the village. Hinata touched the spot where Naruto had touched her shoulder and could only sigh sadly as she continued on her way with her comrades, heartbroken and, worst of all, knowing that it was all her fault because of those 2 idiots. They all ran through the dense forest. Naruto stood calmly beside RIAS, smiling as they trailed behind, sharing a conversation. The couple suddenly stopped when they felt something touch their shoulders. Naruto, thinking, what? Looking behind him, we were the last ones. RIAS also felt as if someone touched her shoulder as she looked behind her, confused. RIAS, thinking, what is this feeling, what's happening? Naruto and RIAS didn't know what was happening. They were about to ask the question when Sakura caught their attention. Sakura, would be, you too, hurry up, you can't fall behind for no reason. The duo took one last look at the horizon, a hint of remorse in their hearts, as they didn't know what was happening but with a certain doubt in their minds. RIAS, thinking, Jiraiya-sama. Naruto, mind, arrow senin. Without further ado, the duo approached the group that was waiting for them at the place. Long ago, the hidden village of the rain. Jiraiya smiled as he watched his two captures. One had been transformed into a frog, while the other clenched his fists but ultimately sighed in defeat. Tallest tower in Amigakure. The man with orange hair and Rinnegan eyes opened a door, revealing silhouettes lying in strange chambers. Pain, calmly, it is time, divine judgment will fall. Rise up, it is time for the world to know pain, the first step to peace and the beginning of a world without this operation. After saying that, 6 pairs of Rinnegan eyes appeared in the darkness of that room. End of chapter.